The gentle hum of nanites coursing through my veins was as familiar to me as my own heartbeat. I stood before the mirror, watching the iridescent shimmer beneath my skin, a testament to humanity's greatest achievement. My name is Jake Morrison, and like every other human on Earth, I am a living fusion of biology and technology. It started as a breakthrough in medical science, microscopic robots designed to repair cellular damage and fight disease. But it quickly became so much more. Within a generation, nanites had become an integral part of human existence, enhancing our bodies and minds in ways our ancestors could only dream of. I raised my hand, focusing on the tips of my fingers. In response to my thoughts, the nanites coalesced, forming a thin, translucent membrane, an improvised glove. With another mental command, it dissipated. Such party tricks barely scratched the surface of what our symbiotic companions could do. As a nanotech engineer, I spent my days pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Today, however, something felt off. The nanites in my body seemed more responsive, almost eager. I made a mental note to run some diagnostics later. I stepped out of my apartment into the bustling streets of New Shanghai. The city was a marvel of human ingenuity, its towering spires reaching towards the heavens, their surfaces alive with crawling nanotech that constantly repaired and improved the structures. As I walked to the lab, my enhanced senses picked up fragments of conversation, news broadcasts, and data streams. One word kept repeating: anomaly. My curiosity piqued. I tapped into the public information network. A collective gasp seemed to ripple through the city as the news broke. An unidentified object had entered Earth's orbit, its size and speed defying our most advanced detection systems. The implications were clear: we were no longer alone. I quickened my pace, my mind racing. Years of speculation and preparation were about to be put to the test. As I neared the lab, an ear-splitting shriek tore through the air. I looked up, my nanite-enhanced vision zooming in on a metallic shape descending through the atmosphere. The object was sleek, its surface rippling like liquid metal. It was beautiful, alien, and terrifying all at once. As it neared the ground, smaller shapes began to detach from its hull, streaking towards the city. Panic erupted in the streets. People ran for shelter, their nanites forming protective shells around them. I stood my ground, watching in awe and fear as the first alien craft touched down less than a kilometer away. A hatch opened, and a figure emerged. It was tall, at least 2 meters, with a body that seemed to be a seamless blend of organic and mechanical parts. Its head swiveled, multiple eyes scanning the environment before locking onto me. In that moment, I felt a surge of something. The nanites in my body thrummed with energy, responding to my heightened emotional state in a way I'd never experienced before. As the alien took its first step onto Earth's soil, I realized that everything was about to change. Humanity had prepared for this moment, but were we truly ready? As the alien strode towards me, its intent unclear, I steeled myself for what was to come. Little did I know, the nanites coursing through my veins were about to reveal their true potential and redefine what it meant to be human. The alien's approach was methodical, each step a fluid motion that belied its mechanical nature. As it drew closer, I could see the intricate patterns etched into its metallic skin, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. My heart raced, but the nanites in my bloodstream seemed to resonate with a calm certainty. Human, the alien's voice reverberated, a symphony of harmonics that my enhanced hearing easily deciphered. We are the Zarkoth. Your world is now under our protection. Protection. The word hung in the air, its implications clear. This was no friendly first contact, it was the beginning of an invasion. Before I could respond, a beam of energy lanced out from the alien's arm, striking a nearby building. To my amazement, the structure's nanotech defenses activated instantly, absorbing and dissipating the attack. The Zarkoth's eyes widened, multiple pupils dilating in what I could only assume was surprise. Taking advantage of its momentary confusion, I focused on the nanites in my body. Responding to my will, they flowed outward, coalescing into a reflective shield just as the alien fired again. The energy beam bounced off harmlessly, scorching the pavement beside me. "Impossible," the Zarkoth hissed, its voice a mixture of awe and frustration. I felt a surge of pride. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats before: climate change, pandemics, resource depletion. Each time, we had adapted, evolved. The nanites were our latest leap forward, and now they would be our defense against the stars themselves. More Zarkoth ships descended from the sky, their liquid metal hulls reflecting the chaos unfolding below. I knew I had to act fast. Concentrating, I willed the nanites to enhance my physical abilities. Strength flooded my muscles, and with a leap that would have been impossible just moments ago, I bounded towards the alien. The Zarkoth raised its arm to fire again, but I was faster. My fist, encased in a nanite-hardened glove, connected with its midsection. The alien staggered back, its metallic skin denting under the impact. "We are not your subjects to protect," I growled, surprised by the ferocity in my own voice. "We are humanity, and we will defend ourselves." As if in response to my declaration, the nanites in my body surged with newfound energy. I felt them changing, adapting in real time to the threat before me. My skin hardened, taking on a metallic sheen not unlike the Zarkoth's own armor. The alien's eyes narrowed, its posture shifting from confident to wary. "What are you?" it asked, a note of uncertainty creeping into its harmonic tones. I didn't have an answer. Whatever was happening to me, to my nanites, was beyond anything we had ever achieved in the lab. It was as if the very presence of the aliens had triggered some dormant potential within our technology. Before I could ponder this further, a deafening explosion rocked the city. I turned to see a massive Zarkoth warship hovering over the financial district, its weapons trained on the buildings below. But as it fired, a shimmering dome of nanites rose to meet the assault, a collective defense born from the combined will of thousands of humans. The sight filled me with a fierce determination. We were not helpless. We were not unprepared. We were humanity, augmented and united, ready to face whatever the universe had thrown at us. As more Zarkoth forces poured into the city, I steeled myself for the battle ahead. The nanites hummed within me, eager and responsive. Whatever hidden potential they held, I knew I had to unlock it, not just for my own survival, but for the fate of our entire species. The invasion had begun, but so had our resistance. And I, Jake Morrison, found myself at the forefront of a war that would determine the future of humanity among the stars. The city had become a battleground, a chaotic mix of human ingenuity and alien technology. I sprinted through the streets, my nanite-enhanced body easily outpacing the Zarkoth pursuers. Each step I took sent shockwaves of information through my system, the nanites adapting and evolving in real time. As I rounded a corner, I came face to face with a group of civilians huddled behind a makeshift barricade. Their eyes widened as they took in my metallic appearance, a mirror of the very aliens we were fighting. "It's okay," I assured them, my voice resonating with an authority I didn't know I possessed. "I'm human, just like you. We need to get you to safety." One of the men stepped forward, his own skin shimmering with active nanites. "The subways," he said. "They've converted them into emergency shelters, but the aliens are everywhere." I nodded, formulating a plan. "I'll draw their fire. When I give the signal, run for the nearest station entrance." Focusing my thoughts, I willed the nanites to reconfigure. My arm elongated, transforming into a sleek cannon reminiscent of the Zarkoth weapons. The sensation was bizarre. I could feel every molecule shifting, yet it was as natural as flexing a muscle. I leapt atop the barricade, my newly formed weapon primed. A squad of Zarkoth turned the corner, their liquid metal bodies gleaming in the chaos. For a moment, they hesitated, confused by my appearance. I didn't give them time to recover. A burst of energy erupted from my arm cannon, scattering the aliens. "Now," I shouted to the civilians, who broke cover and ran. As I provided covering fire, I marveled at the precision of my attacks. Somehow, the nanites were interpreting the alien technology, replicating and improving upon it within my own body. Each shot was more accurate, more powerful than the last. Once the civilians were clear, I bounded after them, my legs propelling me in impossible leaps. We reached the subway entrance without incident, but I knew I couldn't stay. There were others out there who needed help. "Stay here," I instructed the group. "The nanite defenses will keep you safe until this is over." As I turned to leave, the man who had spoken earlier caught my arm. "Who are you?" he asked, awe and fear mingling in his voice. I paused, considering. "I'm Jake Morrison. I'm a nanotech engineer, and right now, I might be our best hope." Emerging back onto the war-torn streets, I tapped into the city's information network. Reports were flooding in from around the globe. The Zarkoth invasion was worldwide, but so was the human resistance. In every city, individuals like myself were discovering unprecedented control over their nanites. A priority alert caught my attention. A Zarkoth command ship had landed near the Central Nanotech Research Facility. If they gained access to our most advanced tech, the balance could tip in their favor. With a thought, I reconfigured my body for speed, nanites forming sleek contours to reduce air resistance. I took off towards the facility, my mind racing faster than my feet. As I ran, I began to piece together the puzzle. The Zarkoth's arrival had somehow catalyzed our nanites, unlocking potential we never knew existed. But why? Was it mere coincidence, or was there a deeper connection between our technologies? I pushed the questions aside as I approached the research facility. The scene before me was one of devastation. Zarkoth forces had breached the outer defenses, and a pitched battle was underway. Scientists and security personnel, their bodies enhanced by nanites, held the line against the alien advance, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Without intervention, it was only a matter of time before the facility fell. As I prepared to join the fray, a realization struck me. The answers we needed, the key to defeating the Zarkoth, might very well lie within the facility's databanks. I had to get inside, had to access that information. With renewed determination, I morphed my body into a living weapon. Whatever secrets lay hidden in the intersection of human and Zarkoth technology, I was determined to uncover them. The fate of our species might very well depend on it. Taking a deep breath, I charged into battle, my body humming with untapped potential. The next phase of the war for Earth was about to begin. The research facility's courtyard had become a war zone. Zarkoth energy weapons crisscrossed with the improvised defenses of the human security forces. I dove into the fray, my nanite-enhanced body weaving through the chaos with inhuman agility. As I approached the front lines, I noticed something peculiar. The humans here, mostly scientists and security personnel, were displaying abilities far beyond what I'd seen on the streets. One researcher had transformed his arms into whip-like appendages, lashing out at the aliens with deadly precision. A security guard's skin had become translucent, bending light around her to achieve near invisibility. "Hold the line," I shouted, my voice carrying over the din of battle. "We can't let them breach the inner sanctum." My arrival seemed to bolster their spirits. I took point, morphing my arms into shield-like structures to deflect incoming fire. With each impact, I felt the nanites in my body learning, adapting to the alien energy signatures. As we pushed forward, I caught snippets of conversation from the defending scientists. Words like quantum entanglement and cross-species compatibility stood out amidst the chaos. There was more going on here than a simple invasion. A massive Zarkoth, easily twice the size of its comrades, lumbered towards us. Its liquid metal skin rippled, forming layers of armor and weaponry. This had to be one of their elite warriors. "Fall back," I ordered the others. "I'll handle this one." As the humans retreated, I focused intensely on my nanites. I'd been reacting, adapting on instinct until now. It was time to take control. I envisioned my ideal form, a perfect fusion of offense and defense. The transformation was unlike anything I'd experienced before. My body elongated, limbs reconfiguring into a more efficient structure. My skin hardened into a crystalline lattice, refracting light in dazzling patterns. I felt power coursing through me, raw and untamed. The Zarkoth elite paused, its multiple eyes blinking in what I could only assume was surprise. Then it charged, its arm morphing into a wicked blade. Our clash was titanic. Each blow sent shockwaves through the air, cracking the pavement beneath our feet. But with every exchange, I was learning, improving. The nanites in my body were analyzing the Zarkoth's structure, finding weaknesses. As we grappled, a stray thought crossed my mind. The ease with which I was adapting to the alien's abilities seemed unnatural. It was as if my nanites had been designed for this very purpose. With a surge of strength, I pinned the Zarkoth against a wall. "Why are you here?" I demanded. "What do you want with our technology?" The alien's response was unexpected. It laughed, a sound like grinding gears. "You still don't understand, do you, human? We're not here for your technology. We're here for you." Before I could process its words, the Zarkoth's body began to liquefy. To my horror, it started to merge with my crystalline form. I tried to pull away, but it was too late. Our nanites were intermingling, exchanging information at a rate I couldn't comprehend. Visions flashed through my mind. Distant stars, ancient civilizations, a war that spanned millennia. I saw the birth of the Zarkoth, a species created to be the perfect warriors, and I saw us, humanity, but not as we were now. I saw our distant past and our potential future. As quickly as it began, the merger ended. The Zarkoth collapsed, its liquid metal form inert. I staggered back, my mind reeling from the influx of information. "Jake," a voice cut through my daze. Dr. Elena Rossi, the lead researcher of the facility, was calling out to me. "We need to get to the secure lab. Now." I shook off my disorientation and followed her, my body automatically shifting back to a more human form. As we raced through the facility's winding corridors, I tried to make sense of what I'd learned. "Dr. Rossi," I panted, "I think I know why they're here. But it doesn't make any sense. It's like they know us, like they've been waiting for us." Elena's expression was grim as we reached the secure lab's entrance. "You have no idea how right you are, Jake," she said, inputting a complex code. "What I'm about to show you will change everything you thought you knew about humanity and our place in the universe." The doors slid open, revealing a sight that made my newly enhanced heart skip a beat. In the center of the lab, suspended in a field of energy, was a device of obvious alien origin. And etched into its surface were symbols I recognized from my vision, a language older than humanity itself. Our war with the Zarkoth was about to take a turn none of us could have anticipated. The true nature of our nanite technology, and perhaps of humanity itself, was about to be revealed. The secure lab hummed with an otherworldly energy, centered on the alien artifact suspended before us. Its surface pulsed with a soft, blue light, responding to our presence. Dr. Rossi approached a control panel, her fingers dancing across the interface. "Jake," she began, her voice tight with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "What I'm about to tell you is beyond classified. It's the kind of truth that could unravel the very fabric of our society." The artifact began to spin, projecting a holographic display that filled the room. Star systems, galaxies, and what looked like strands of DNA floated around us. 15 years ago, we discovered this device buried deep within the Mariana Trench. Carbon dating suggested it was over 100,000 years old, but its technology, it's still far beyond our understanding. I stared at the swirling data, my enhanced mind struggling to process it all. "What does this have to do with the Zarkoth? With our nanites?" Elena's eyes met mine, filled with an intensity that made me shiver. "Everything, Jake. This device, it's a seed, a blueprint for evolution itself. And it's not the only one. We found evidence of similar artifacts across the globe, all dormant until now." The implications hit me like a physical blow. "You're saying our nanite technology is based on this alien design?" "Yes," Elena finished. "But it goes deeper than that. The device didn't just give us the blueprint for nanites. It's been subtly guiding our evolution for millennia, preparing us for this moment." My mind reeled. The ease with which we'd adapted to the Zarkoth technology, the unprecedented control over our nanites, it all started to make a twisted kind of sense. But why? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Why would an alien race seed our planet with this technology, only to invade us now? Elena manipulated the controls, and the holographic display shifted. It showed two distinct evolutionary paths, both starting from a common point. We believe the Zarkoth and humans share a common ancestor, she explained. An ancient, spacefaring race that spread these seeds across the galaxy. But where the Zarkoth evolved to integrate with technology externally, we were guided to internalize it. I thought back to the visions I'd experienced during my merger with the Zarkoth warrior. They're not here to conquer us, I realized aloud. They're here to complete us. Elena nodded grimly. In a sense, we think the invasion is a test, a crucible to force our final evolutionary leap. The Zarkoth aren't just our enemies, they're our cosmic siblings, the other half of a grand experiment set in motion eons ago. The weight of this revelation was staggering. Everything we thought we knew about human history, about our place in the universe, had just been turned on its head. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Elena rushed to a monitor, her face paling. They've breached the outer defenses. We have minutes, maybe less. I clenched my fists, feeling the nanites respond to my surge of adrenaline. What do we do? If what you're saying is true, we can't just fight them off. This is bigger than a simple war. Elena's hand hovered over a button on the control panel. There's one thing we haven't tried yet. This device, it's not just a blueprint, it's a key. If we activate it fully, it could unlock the true potential of our nanites, allow us to communicate with the Zarkoth on a fundamental level. But, I prompted, sensing her hesitation. But it could also backfire spectacularly. We'd be merging with technology we barely understand. It could destroy us, or transform us into something beyond human, I finished. The sounds of battle grew closer. We were out of time and options. I placed my hand over Elena's, our eyes meeting in a moment of silent understanding. Do it, I said. Elena pressed the button. The artifact's glow intensified, bathing the room in blinding light. I felt the nanites in my body sing in response, every cell vibrating with newfound energy. As the light engulfed me, I had one last coherent thought. Whatever humanity was about to become, there would be no turning back. The next chapter in human evolution was about to be written, with the fate of two species hanging in the balance. The transformation began, and with it, the true battle for our cosmic destiny. The world dissolved into a kaleidoscope of light and sensation. Every atom in my body seemed to resonate with the energy emanating from the alien artifact. I felt my consciousness expand, stretching beyond the confines of my physical form. In that moment of transcendence, I understood. The nanites weren't just tools or enhancements, they were a bridge, connecting us to a vast network of information and energy that spanned the cosmos. And now, that bridge was fully open. As my awareness snapped back to the present, I gasped. The secure lab had been transformed. Walls rippled with living circuitry, and the air itself seemed charged with potential. But the most startling change was in Elena and myself. Our bodies glowed with an inner light, nanites visible just beneath our skin in intricate, ever-shifting patterns. I flexed my hand, watching in awe as it morphed effortlessly into various tools and weapons before returning to its human form. Jake, Elena's voice resonated in my mind, her lips unmoving. Can you feel it? I nodded, overwhelmed by the influx of information. Not just data, but emotions, memories, the collective experiences of humanity, and something other, the Zarkoth. A tremor shook the facility, snapping us back to the immediate crisis. The invasion was still underway, but now we had the means to end it. We need to reach their command ship, I said, the plan forming in my mind with crystal clarity. If we can interface with their central network, we might be able to establish a true connection, make them understand. Elena nodded, her form already shifting, adapting for the task ahead. I'll coordinate our forces here, try to minimize casualties on both sides. You're the best chance we have of reaching their leaders. I placed a hand on her shoulder, feeling the nanites in our bodies resonate. In that touch, we shared more than words could express: hope, fear, determination. Then, with a thought, I reconfigured my body for speed and power. Racing through the facility, I was a blur of motion. Zarkoth and humans alike paused in their combat, sensing the change that had come over me. I reached out with my newfound abilities, broadcasting a message of calm and unity. To my amazement, many lowered their weapons, the fighting slowing to a confused standstill. As I burst out of the building, I saw the Zarkoth command ship looming over the city, its liquid metal hull churned, bristling with weapons. But now, with my enhanced perception, I could see the beauty in its design, the echoes of our shared heritage. I launched myself into the air, nanites reconfiguring to form sleek, wing-like structures. As I soared towards the ship, I felt a presence brush against my mind, the collective consciousness of the Zarkoth, curious and wary. Landing on the hull, I pressed my hand against the metallic surface. I seek audience with your leaders, I projected, both verbally and mentally. This conflict is built on a misunderstanding. We are not enemies, but two halves of a greater whole. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the hull beneath my feet began to ripple and part. I descended into the heart of the alien vessel, surrounded by technology both familiar and utterly foreign. In the ship's central chamber, I found myself face to face with a Zarkoth high command. Their forms were more varied than the warriors I'd encountered, some almost humanoid, others completely alien. But in all of them, I sensed a spark of recognition. "You have changed," one of them spoke, its voice a harmony of tones. "You have awakened." I nodded, allowing my nanites to interface with the ship's systems. Images and concepts flowed between us: the long history of our species, the grand experiment that had shaped us both, and the potential future that awaited if we could overcome our differences. "We are the children of the same creators," I said, my voice resonating with newfound authority. "Our conflict is not a war, but the final stage of our evolution. Apart, we are incomplete. Together, we can become something greater than either of our races ever imagined." The Zarkoth leaders communicated among themselves in a flurry of data exchanges. I waited, acutely aware that the fate of two species hung in the balance. Finally, the central figure stepped forward. Its liquid metal form shifted, taking on a more humanoid appearance. "We have waited eons for this moment," it said. "Show us the way, brother." With those words, I felt a surge of connection. Human and Zarkoth, technology and biology, all merging into something new and wondrous. As our minds linked, I saw the vast potential of our united future unfold before me. The war was over. The true evolution of our species was about to begin. The merger of human and Zarkoth consciousness was unlike anything I could have imagined. Millennia of history, culture, and technological advancement flowed between us. In those moments, I experienced the birth of stars, the rise and fall of civilizations across the galaxy, and the long, patient wait for humanity to reach this pivotal moment. As our minds separated, I found myself changed. Not just physically, though my body now shimmered with a perfect blend of human and Zarkoth nanites, but fundamentally. I understood our place in the cosmic order with a clarity that was both exhilarating and terrifying. "We must share this with the others," the Zarkoth leader, who had introduced itself as Zarvex, said. Its voice now carried hints of human inflection. "Both our species must understand the truth of our origins and our destiny." I nodded, already reaching out with my enhanced abilities to connect with Elena and the other awakened humans. "It won't be easy," I cautioned. "Our peoples have been fighting. There's fear, anger, mistrust." Zarvex's form rippled in what I now recognized as a gesture of agreement. "Which is why we must show them, not just tell them. Are you prepared, Jake Morrison, to be the bridge between our kinds?" The weight of responsibility settled on my shoulders, but I felt equal to the task. "I am," I replied, my voice steady. Together, we emerged from the command ship. The scene below had changed dramatically. The fighting had largely ceased, with humans and Zarkoth regarding each other warily. Many had undergone transformations similar to mine, their bodies adapting to the unleashed potential of the nanites. Elena met us as we descended, her eyes wide with wonder and apprehension. "Jake, what's happening? I can feel everything's different." I took her hand, allowing the nanites to facilitate a deeper connection. "It's time to rewrite history. Elena, are you with me?" She squeezed my hand in response, a small smile playing on her lips. "Always." With Elena and Zarvex at my side, I addressed the assembled crowds. My voice, amplified by technology beyond human ken, reached every corner of the city and through the global network, the entire world. "People of Earth and our Zarkoth brethren," I began, feeling the weight of every word. "The conflict that brought us to this moment is based on a misunderstanding millennia in the making. We are not enemies, but two halves of a greater whole." As I spoke, I projected images and concepts directly into the minds of those listening. The story of our shared origins unfolded the ancient race that had seeded both our species, the grand experiment designed to create a new form of life that could bridge the gap between organic and synthetic existence. "The Zarkoth didn't come to conquer us," I continued, "but to complete us. And in turn, we hold the key to their own completion. Apart, we are powerful. Together, we are transcendent." I could feel the shock, disbelief, and dawning wonder rippling through the crowd. Humans and Zarkoth alike were processing this paradigm-shifting revelation. "But this gift comes with a choice," I said, my voice softening. "The path forward will change us irrevocably. We will become something new, neither fully human nor Zarkoth. It is a step into the unknown, and it must be taken willingly." Elena stepped forward, her voice joining mine. "Those who wish to remain as they are will be respected. But for those ready to embrace our cosmic destiny, the gateway is open." Zarvex added its harmonic tones to our message. "Let the age of division end. Let us forge a future among the stars, not as conquerors, but as explorers and creators." As our words faded, a hush fell over the city. Then, slowly, it began. Humans and Zarkoth alike stepped towards each other, hesitant at first, then with growing confidence. I watched in awe as they made contact, nanites and liquid metal intermingling, transforming both parties into shimmering beings of limitless potential. Not everyone joined in, of course. Many humans and Zarkoth held back, watching with a mixture of fear and fascination. Their choice to remain unchanged was honored, a living reminder of our origins. As the transformation spread across the globe, I felt a shift in the very fabric of reality. Humanity, in partnership with the Zarkoth, was taking its first steps towards a future beyond anything we had dreamed. The invasion had become an integration, the war transmuted into a renaissance, and I, Jake Morrison, once a simple nanotech engineer, now stood at the forefront of our species' next great leap. The stars beckoned, and we were finally ready to answer their call. The days that followed the Great Merger, as it came to be known, were a whirlwind of change and adaptation. Cities across the globe transformed, melding human architecture with Zarkoth bio-organic structures. The sky itself seemed different, shimmering with the combined efforts of our atmospheric nanites and their advanced terraforming technology. I found myself at the center of it all, a living bridge between the old and the new. My enhanced body and mind allowed me to process vast amounts of information, coordinating efforts on a global scale. Elena worked tirelessly by my side, her scientific acumen proving invaluable as we navigated the complexities of our new existence. But not all was smooth sailing. Pockets of resistance formed, both human and Zarkoth, fearful of the changes sweeping across the planet. We faced the delicate task of respecting their choice while protecting the newly merged society. One morning, as I stood atop what was once the Eiffel Tower, now a breathtaking spire of living metal that served as a global communication hub, I received an urgent message from Zarvex. "Jake, we have a situation in the Mariana Trench." The Zarkoth leader's voice resonated in my mind. "The artifact there is evolving. We need you to investigate." I acknowledged the request, my body already reconfiguring for deep-sea travel. As I prepared to depart, Elena joined me, her form shimmering with anticipation. "I'm coming with you," she said, her tone brooking no argument. "Whatever's happening down there, it could be the key to understanding our creators." I nodded, grateful for her company and expertise. Together, we launched ourselves from the tower, our bodies streaking across the sky faster than any aircraft of the old world. As we approached the Pacific, I opened a secure channel to update the Global Transition Council. Dr. Rossi and I are investigating an anomaly at the Mariana Trench site. Stand by for updates. We plunged into the ocean, our nanite-enhanced bodies easily adapting to the crushing pressures of the deep. The descent was swift, and soon we found ourselves at the edge of the trench, facing the research station that had been built around the original artifact. But something was different. The station was pulsing with energy, tendrils of light reaching out into the surrounding water. As we approached, I felt a familiar resonance similar to what I'd experienced during the initial activation, but far more powerful. "Elena," I said, my voice tight with a mixture of excitement and apprehension, "are you feeling this?" She nodded, her eyes wide with wonder. It's calling to us, Jake, to all of us." We entered the station, making our way to the central chamber where the artifact had been housed. What we found there defied explanation. The device had transformed, expanding to fill the entire room. It was no longer a static object, but a swirling vortex of energy and information. As we watched, images began to form within its star maps, DNA sequences, and symbols of a language so ancient it predated both human and Zarkoth civilizations. "It's a message," Elena breathed, her scientific mind racing to decode what we were seeing. "No, more than that. It's an invitation." I reached out, allowing my nanites to interface with the swirling data. Instantly, my consciousness expanded, connecting not just with Elena and the merged beings on Earth, but with something far vaster. In that moment of cosmic awareness, I understood. The artifacts left on Earth weren't just tools for our evolution, they were keys to a galactic network, a means of connecting with other seeded worlds across the universe. "We're not alone," I said, my voice filled with awe. "There are others out there, Elena, other merged species, waiting for us to join them." As the realization sank in, the artifact's energy surged. The vortex expanded, filling the station with blinding light. I felt a pull, not just physical but metaphysical, as if the very essence of our being was being drawn into the cosmos. Elena gripped my hand, her thoughts mingling with mine. "Are we ready for this, Jake? To take humanity's first true steps into the galactic community?" I squeezed her hand in return, feeling the weight of the decision before us. This was more than just first contact, it was an invitation to join a cosmic civilization beyond our wildest dreams. "We've come this far," I said, a smile playing on my lips. "It's time to see just how far we can go." Together, we stepped into the light, ready to embrace the next chapter in our species' incredible journey. The boundaries of Earth fell away, and the universe, in all its infinite wonder, opened up before us. Humanity's true adventure among the stars was about to begin. The transition from Earth to wherever we were now was unlike anything I could have imagined. It felt as if we were being deconstructed at the quantum level and reassembled across vast distances of space-time. When the blinding light finally faded, Elena and I found ourselves standing on what appeared to be a platform made of pure energy. All around us, the cosmos stretched out in breathtaking beauty. Stars, nebulae, and entire galaxies swirled in a cosmic dance that defied comprehension. But we weren't alone. Beings of light and energy, some vaguely humanoid and others completely alien, surrounded us. Their forms shifted and changed, reminiscent of our own nanite-enhanced bodies, but on a scale that made us seem primitive by comparison. A voice, or rather a chorus of voices, resonated within our minds. "Welcome, children of Earth and Zarkoth. We are the guardians, keepers of the cosmic nexus." Elena and I exchanged glances, our nanites working overtime to process the influx of information and sensations. I stepped forward, acting as the spokesperson for our merged species. We're honored, I managed to say, my voice sounding small in this vast expanse. But we have so many questions. Who are you? Why were we brought here? One of the beings moved closer, its form coalescing into something almost recognizable, a merger of organic and technological elements that seemed to be the ultimate evolution of what we had become on Earth. We are what you might become, given time and guidance, it explained. Eons ago, our civilization reached a crossroads. Continue as we were and face extinction, or seed the galaxy with the potential for new life that could bridge the gap between the organic and the synthetic. Elena's scientific curiosity overcame her awe. The artifacts on Earth, the nanite technology, it was all part of your plan? The being pulsed with what I interpreted as affirmation. Yes, but you were not merely an experiment. You are our legacy, our hope for the future of all life in the cosmos. As they spoke, images flooded our minds: the rise and fall of countless civilizations, the birth and death of stars, the very fabric of the universe unfolding before us. We saw other worlds, similar to Earth, where the merger of species had occurred. Some had succeeded brilliantly, others had failed catastrophically. You stand at a precipice, the chorus of voices continued. Your world has taken its first steps towards cosmic citizenship, but the journey ahead is fraught with challenges. We offer you a choice. The space around us shifted, and suddenly we were presented with 3 distinct paths, each shimmering with potential futures. The first path, the Guardian explained, is to return to Earth with the knowledge you've gained, to guide your people's evolution at your own pace. The second path materialized, showing glimpses of advanced technologies and interstellar travel. This path would grant you the technology to explore the galaxy, to seek out other seeded worlds and forge alliances. Finally, the third path appeared, radiant and almost blinding in its intensity. The final choice is to join us here, in the cosmic nexus, to ascend beyond your current forms and help shape the very future of the universe. The weight of the decision pressed down upon us. I turned to Elena, seeing the same mix of excitement and trepidation in her eyes that I felt in my core. Whatever we choose, she said softly, it will change everything. Not just for us, but for everyone back on Earth. I nodded, feeling the responsibility of our choice. We weren't just deciding for ourselves, but for the entire merged human Zarkoth species. The fate of 2 civilizations and potentially the future of the cosmos rested on our shoulders. As we stood there, poised between the infinite possibilities before us, I realized that this was the true test. Not the invasion, not the merger, but this moment of choice. It would define not just what we were, but what we could become. With a deep breath, I prepared to make the most important decision of my life, of any life in Earth's history. The universe waited, patient and eternal, for our answer. The cosmic expanse seemed to hold its breath as Elena and I contemplated our options. Each path before us shimmered with potential, promising futures beyond our wildest imaginations. But as I looked into Elena's eyes, I saw a reflection of my own thoughts, a deep-seated connection to Earth and the people we'd left behind. "We can't make this decision alone," I said, my voice resonating with newfound clarity. "Our species has just begun to understand its place in the universe. To choose for them would be to deny them the very growth we've experienced." Elena nodded, a smile of understanding crossing her face. "You're right, Jake. We need to bring this choice back to Earth." I turned to address the Guardians, their light forms pulsing with what I sensed was approval. "We're grateful for this opportunity, but we can't accept any of these paths, not yet. Our people deserve to have a say in their cosmic destiny." The chorus of voices responded, tinged with what could only be described as pride. "A wise choice, children of Earth and Zarkoth. It is not the path we expected, but it is one that speaks to the potential we saw in your species." The cosmic scenery around us began to shift, coalescing into a new form. A shimmering portal appeared, a window back to the depths of the Mariana Trench, where our journey had begun. "Return to your world," the Guardians instructed. "Share what you have learned. When your people are ready, truly ready to take their place among the stars, you need only activate the artifact once more. We will be waiting. As Elena and I prepared to step through the portal, one of the Guardians approached, its form briefly taking on a more humanoid appearance. Remember, Jake Morrison and Elena Rossi, the journey is as important as the destination. Guide your people well. With a final look at the cosmic wonders around us, we stepped through the portal. The transition back was gentler this time, our enhanced bodies easily adapting to the shift in reality. In moments, we found ourselves back in the underwater research station, the artifact once again dormant, but humming with potential. As we emerged from the station, we were met by a delegation of human and Zarkoth leaders, their faces a mix of concern and curiosity. Among them was Zarvex, its liquid metal form rippling with anticipation. "You were gone for days," Zarvex said, its voice carrying notes of relief. "We feared we had lost you to the cosmos." I smiled, realizing that what had felt like hours to us had been much longer for those we'd left behind. "We have quite a story to tell," I replied, "and a choice to present to our people." Over the next weeks, Elena and I traveled the globe, sharing our experience with humans and Zarkoth alike. We showed them visions of the cosmic nexus, explained the paths offered by the Guardians, and emphasized the importance of making this decision as a unified species. The response was overwhelming. Some were eager to ascend immediately to join the Guardians in shaping the cosmos. Others advocated for taking the technology offered and forging our own path among the stars. And many, still adjusting to the merger of our species, urged caution and a slower approach. Debates raged in newly formed global forums, with perspectives from both human and Zarkoth cultures enriching the discourse. It was messy, chaotic, and beautiful, a true testament to the potential of our merged civilization. As the discussions continued, Elena and I found ourselves in a quiet moment, overlooking a city that now blended the best of human and Zarkoth architecture. The sky above was filled with new constellations, a reminder of the vast universe waiting for us. "Do you think we made the right choice?" Elena asked, her hand intertwining with mine. "Bringing this decision back to Earth?" I squeezed her hand, feeling the nanites in our bodies resonating in harmony. "I do," I replied. "Whatever path we choose, it will be one we forge together. That unity, that's what will truly prepare us for our place in the cosmos." As we stood there, watching the sun set on a world forever changed, I felt a sense of profound hope. The invasion that had begun as a conflict had transformed into the greatest opportunity our species had ever known. We had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, wiser, and united. The future stretched out before us, infinite in its possibilities, and whatever challenges lay ahead, I knew that humanity in its new, evolved form was ready to face them. Together, we would write the next chapter of our cosmic story, one that would echo across the stars for eons to come. The end of our old world had become the beginning of a grand, universal adventure, and we were just getting started. The view from Earth's first orbital elevator never ceased to amaze me. As I ascended through the atmosphere, the planet below transformed from a patchwork of cities and wilderness into a breathtaking blue marble suspended in the void. It had been 5 years since the great merger, 5 years since Elena and I had glimpsed the cosmic tapestry that awaited us. Yet here we were, still tethered to our home world, caught in an endless debate about our future. I sighed, my nanite-enhanced body automatically adjusting to the changing pressure and gravity. The elevator car hummed with energy, a perfect blend of human ingenuity and Zarkoth technology. It was a constant reminder of how far we'd come, and how far we had yet to go. As the car docked with Nexus Station, our new home among the stars, I steeled myself for another day of negotiations and politicking. The station's central atrium was a hive of activity, filled with humans, Zarkoth, and every imaginable combination of the two. Some had embraced the merger fully, their bodies shimmering with visible nanites. Others maintained a more traditional appearance, a silent statement of their reservations about our potential cosmic future. "Jake," a familiar voice cut through the crowd. Zarvex approached, its liquid metal form rippling with barely contained excitement. The council is assembling. We may finally have a breakthrough. I raised an eyebrow, trying not to let hope cloud my judgment. We'd had too many false starts over the years. What's changed? Zarvex's form shifted, taking on a more humanoid appearance, a gesture it often used when delivering important news. We've detected a signal, Jake, from beyond our solar system. My heart raced, nanites surging through my system in response to the spike of adrenaline. You mean? Yes, Zarvex confirmed, its voice tinged with a mix of excitement and apprehension. It appears to be a distress call, from a system not unlike our own. As we hurried through the station's winding corridors, my mind raced with the implications. Since our return from the cosmic nexus, we'd focused our efforts inward, debating the merits of the paths offered to us. The idea of venturing into the cosmos had remained a distant dream, something for future generations to consider. But now, faced with a cry for help from the stars themselves, how could we ignore it? We entered the council chamber, a vast room dominated by a holographic display of our solar system. Elena was already there, her expression a mirror of my own conflicted emotions. Around the room, representatives from every faction of our merged society took their places. Admiral Chen, one of the few pure humans to hold a high-ranking position, spoke first. As you've no doubt heard, we've received a transmission from the Proxima Centauri system. Our analysts believe it to be a distress signal, though the exact nature of the emergency remains unclear. The room erupted into a cacophony of voices, each faction seeing the situation through their own lens. Some argued for immediate action, while others urged caution, fearing a trap or an event beyond our capabilities to address. As the debate raged, I found my gaze drawn to the holographic display. With a thought, I zoomed in on Proxima Centauri, the star seeming to pulse with an ominous energy. Whatever was happening there, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was intimately connected to our own cosmic destiny. Elena caught my eye from across the room, a silent understanding passing between us. We both knew that this moment would define the future of our species. The choice we made here would set us on a path from which there might be no return. Taking a deep breath, I stepped forward, the nanites in my body humming with anticipation. It was time to make our first real move in the grand cosmic game. Members of the council, I began, my voice cutting through the din. I believe it's time we fulfill the promise we made 5 years ago. We've debated long enough. The universe is calling, and we must answer. As all eyes turned to me, I knew that the real adventure was only just beginning. The crucible that would forge our cosmic future awaited, and I was determined to see us through it. The council chamber fell silent as I laid out my proposal. We have the technology, thanks to our merger with Zarkoth. We have the will, born from our shared history of exploration and discovery. What we lack is unity. This distress call gives us a purpose, a chance to prove ourselves not just to the cosmos, but to each other. Elena stepped forward, her presence lending weight to my words. Though she remained silent, her support was palpable. Admiral Chen stroked his chin thoughtfully, his eyes narrowing as he considered the implications. "And what exactly are you proposing, Morrison?" he asked, his voice gruff but not dismissive. I gestured to the holographic display, expanding it to show the vast distance between our solar system and Proxima Centauri. A mission, not just of exploration, but of aid. We assemble a team, the best of what humanity and the Zarkoth have to offer, and we answer that call. The room erupted once more, but this time there was an undercurrent of excitement beneath the concerns and objections. I could see the idea taking hold, sparking imaginations long dulled by years of debate. Zarvex's form rippled with approval. We have been developing a prototype vessel, one that could make the journey in a fraction of the time our current technology allows. With some modifications, it could be ready within weeks. Admiral Chen's eyebrows shot up. Weeks? You've been holding out on us, Zarvex. The Zarkoth's liquid metal face formed what I had come to recognize as a wry smile. We all have our secrets, Admiral. Perhaps it's time we pooled our resources more effectively. As the technical discussions began in earnest, I felt a hand on my arm. Elena led me to a quiet corner of the chamber, her eyes shining with a mixture of excitement and concern. "You know what this means, Jake," she said, her voice low. "If we do this, if we make contact with another civilization out there, everything changes. We'll be taking our first real steps into the galactic community." I nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "I know, but we can't keep hiding behind our debates and fears. Whatever's out there, whatever sent that signal, it's a part of the legacy the Guardians entrusted to us. We have to face it." Elena's expression softened, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Well then, I suppose we'd better start packing." The next few weeks passed in a blur of activity. The prototype vessel, dubbed the Cosmic Envoy, was a marvel of engineering. Sleek and organic in design, it looked more like a living creature than a spaceship. Its hull was composed of adaptive nanomaterials, capable of reconfiguring for various space environments. The propulsion system utilized principles of quantum entanglement, allowing for near-instantaneous travel across vast distances. As the launch date approached, the crew was finalized. I would be leading the mission, with Zarvex as my second in command. Elena would head up the scientific team, while Admiral Chen insisted on sending a contingent of his best officers to represent Earth's traditional military interests. The night before launch, I stood on the observation deck of Nexus Station, gazing out at the stars. The vastness of space no longer felt like a barrier, but an invitation. Yet as I contemplated the journey ahead, a nagging doubt crept into my mind. What if we weren't ready? What if, in our eagerness to prove ourselves, we were walking into a situation beyond our comprehension? As if sensing my unease, Zarvex appeared beside me, its form reflecting the starlight. "Having second thoughts, Jake?" I shook my head, trying to dispel the doubts. "Not second thoughts, just wondering what we'll find out there, and if we'll be able to handle it." Zarvex's form rippled in what I had come to recognize as a shrug. The unknown has always been humanity's greatest challenge and its greatest opportunity. Together, there is no obstacle we cannot overcome. As I nodded in agreement, a flash of light caught my eye. A new star seemed to flare to life in the direction of Proxima Centauri, pulsing with an urgency that sent a shiver down my spine. Whatever awaited us out there, I knew one thing for certain: the universe was about to get a lot more interesting. The launch of the Cosmic Envoy was a moment that would be etched into the annals of human history. As we broke free from Earth's gravity well, I felt a surge of emotions that even my nanite-enhanced body struggled to process. Excitement, fear, and a profound sense of responsibility swirled within me as our home world shrank to a pale blue dot in the vastness of space. Quantum drive initiating in 3, 2, 1. Zarvex's voice resonated through the bridge, its liquid metal form seamlessly integrated with the ship's controls. There was a moment of disorientation as the quantum drive engaged. The stars around us seemed to stretch and blur, and then suddenly we were elsewhere. Proxima Centauri loomed large in our view screen, its angry red glow a stark contrast to our familiar sun. "Transit successful," Elena reported from her station, her voice tight with barely contained excitement. "All systems nominal. We're picking up the distress signal at full strength now." I leaned forward, studying the holographic display of the Proxima Centauri system. 3 planets orbited the red dwarf star, but it was the second one that caught my attention. It pulsed with an eerie, fluctuating energy signature that seemed to match the rhythm of the distress call. "Take us in," I ordered, my enhanced senses already picking up minute details from the long-range scans. "But stay alert. We don't know what we're dealing with here." As we approached the planet, the true scale of the situation became apparent. The world was a battleground. Massive structures that could only be cities dotted the surface, some gleaming with advanced technology, others lying in ruins. And in orbit, a deadly dance was unfolding between 2 distinct types of spacecraft. "Are you seeing this?" Admiral Chen's gruff voice cut through the tense silence on the bridge. It looks like we've stumbled into a full-scale war." Before anyone could respond, our communication system crackled to life. Two distinct messages came through simultaneously, each originating from a different faction in the conflict. The first was a series of harmonics that resonated with the nanites in my body. "Greetings, kindred spirits. We are the Cynthians. We have ascended beyond the limitations of flesh. Join us in our perfection and help us cleanse this world of the organic plague." The second message was more conventional, a desperate plea in a language our systems quickly translated. "This is the meaner resistance. Our world is under attack by those who would erase our very nature. If you value the sanctity of organic life, we beg for your aid." The implications hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't just a war, it was an ideological struggle that mirrored the very debate we'd been having on Earth. The Cynthians had fully embraced merger with technology, while the Mina fought to maintain their organic nature. "Jake," Elena's voice was low, her eyes wide as she processed the data streaming in. "The energy readings from the Cynthians, they're remarkably similar to what we experienced in the cosmic nexus. I think they've tapped into the same network the Guardians showed us." The weight of the situation settled on my shoulders. We had come seeking to offer aid, but now found ourselves at a crossroads that could determine the fate of not just this world, but potentially our own. "Your orders, sir?" Admiral Chen asked, his hand hovering over the weapon's controls. I took a deep breath, feeling the nanites in my body humming with anticipation. Every instinct told me to side with the Mina, to protect organic life. But I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this conflict than met the eye. "We stay neutral for now," I decided, my voice firm. "Zarvex, open a channel to both factions. Tell them we're here on a peaceful mission and request a meeting with their leaders." As Zarvex carried out my orders, I turned to face my crew. Their expressions ranged from concern to outright fear, but I also saw determination and curiosity. "Whatever happens next," I said, trying to project confidence I didn't entirely feel, "remember why we're here. We represent the best of humanity and Zarkoth. Our choices here could shape the future of the entire galaxy." As we awaited responses from the warring factions, I couldn't help but wonder, had we just taken our first step into a larger conflict? And were we truly ready for the cosmic crucible that awaited us? The fate of not just one world, but potentially our entire species, hung in the balance, and I, Jake Morrison, found myself at the center of a storm that threatened to reshape the very fabric of the universe. The tension on the bridge was palpable as we awaited responses from the Cynthians and Mina. I could feel the nanites in my body reacting to my heightened state of alertness, ready to adapt to whatever challenges lay ahead. "We're receiving transmissions from both factions," Zarvex announced, its liquid metal form rippling with what I'd come to recognize as excitement. Two holographic figures materialized on the bridge. On one side stood a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and pulsing with data streams clearly a representative of the Cynthians. On the other, a more conventional alien, vaguely humanoid, but with iridescent skin and large, expressive eyes that spoke of its organic nature, the Mina. "I am Synth Prime," the energy being spoke, its voice a harmonious blend of tones that resonated with the nanites in my body. "We welcome you, distant kin, to witness the next step in cosmic evolution." The Mina representative stepped forward, its movements fluid and graceful. "I am Zara Lum, last of the Mina elders. We implore you, do not be deceived by the Cynthians' false promises. They seek to eradicate all organic life in their misguided quest for perfection." I raised a hand, silencing both before their argument could escalate. "I am Jake Morrison of Earth. We've come in response to a distress call, seeking to offer aid. But it seems we've stumbled into a conflict that goes far beyond a simple rescue mission." Synth Prime's form pulsed brightly. "Ah, you are the ones the Guardians spoke of. The new seedlings, ripe with potential. Join us, and together we can unlock the full power of the cosmic network." Zara Lum's eyes widened in alarm. "No, the path the Cynthians offer leads only to the destruction of all we hold dear. The diversity of organic life is sacred, a gift from the universe itself. As they spoke, data streamed across my enhanced vision. Elena and her team were analyzing the information both sides were inadvertently broadcasting, piecing together the history of this world and its conflict. Jake, Elena's voice came through our private channel. The Synthians have tapped into something incredibly powerful, but it's unstable. They're not just reshaping their world, they're altering the fabric of space-time around this entire system. I nodded imperceptibly, processing this new information. And the Mina? I subvocalized. They're dying, Elena replied, her voice heavy with emotion. Their resistance to the merger has left them vulnerable to the changes the Synthians are making to their environment. Without intervention, they'll be extinct within a generation. The weight of the situation pressed down on me. This wasn't just a local conflict. It was a microcosm of the choice that faced our own merged society back on Earth. The path of full integration versus the preservation of our organic nature. We need time to understand the full scope of your conflict, I addressed both holographic figures. We request permission to send teams to both your territories to observe and gather information firsthand. Synth Prime's form swirled in what might have been agreement. We welcome your presence, Jake Morrison. Come and see the glorious future that awaits all sentient life. Zara Lum bowed deeply. We too shall receive you, though we warn you to be cautious. The Synthians' influence is insidious. As the transmissions ended, I turned to my crew. Their faces showed a mix of anticipation and apprehension. All right, we'll split into 2 teams. I'll lead the group to the Synthian territory. Zarvex, you'll head the team visiting the Mina. Admiral Chen stepped forward, his expression grim. And what if we're walking into a trap? We're exposing ourselves on both fronts. I met his gaze steadily. That's why you'll remain here with a skeleton crew, Admiral. Keep the cosmic envoy ready for immediate extraction if needed. As we prepared for our respective missions, I couldn't shake a feeling of foreboding. We had come seeking to offer help, but now found ourselves potential arbiters in a conflict that could reshape the galaxy. The nanites in my body hummed with anticipation as I boarded the shuttle bound for Synthian territory. Whatever awaited us on the surface, I knew that the next few hours would be crucial not just for this world, but for the future of our own species. As we descended through the atmosphere, the true scale of the Synthians' transformation became apparent. The landscape below was a marvel of organic technology, pulsing with energy and constantly reshaping itself. It was beautiful, awe-inspiring, and terrifying all at once. Our cosmic crucible had begun, and the stakes were higher than we could have ever imagined. The descent into the Synthian territory was unlike anything I had ever experienced. As our shuttle pierced through layers of shimmering energy fields, I felt the nanites in my body resonating with the surrounding technology. It was as if every atom of this transformed world was singing a cosmic symphony, and my enhanced form could hear every note. We touched down in what appeared to be a vast plaza, though the ground beneath our feet seemed to breathe and pulse with life. Towering structures of impossible geometry surrounded us, their surfaces flowing like liquid metal, yet possessing an organic quality that defied explanation. Synth Prime materialized before us, its energy form even more impressive up close. Welcome, Jake Morrison and companions, to the future of all sentient life. As we stepped out of the shuttle, I felt a sudden surge of power course through my body. The nanites within me were reacting to the environment, eager to connect and expand. It took all of my concentration to maintain control. Incredible, Elena whispered beside me, her scientific curiosity overriding her caution. The level of integration between organic and synthetic. It's beyond anything we've achieved. Synth Prime's form pulsed with what I interpreted as pride. What you see is merely the beginning. Allow me to show you the true potential of our evolution. As we followed our host through the ever-shifting cityscape, Synth Prime began to explain their history. The Synthians had once been much like us, a merged society of organic beings and synthetic enhancements. But they had discovered a way to tap directly into the cosmic network, the Guardians had shown us, accelerating their evolution at an unprecedented rate. But at what cost? I asked, unable to keep the edge out of my voice. What of those who chose to remain organic, like the Mina? Synth Prime's form dimmed slightly. A regrettable necessity. The old forms cannot survive the ascension process. We offered them a chance to join us, to transcend their limitations. Their refusal is unfortunate. As we delved deeper into the Synthian complex, I felt a growing unease. The power here was intoxicating, the potential for advancement beyond anything we had dreamed of on Earth. But there was something else, an undercurrent of wrongness that I couldn't quite place. We entered a vast chamber, its walls lined with swirling vortexes of energy. At the center stood a structure that could only be described as a cosmic antenna, reaching up into an opening that seemed to pierce the very fabric of space-time. "This is the Nexus Core," Synth Prime announced, its voice resonating with reverence. "Through it, we commune with the universe itself, and soon we will reshape reality to usher in a new age of perfection." As if on cue, the antenna pulsed with blinding energy. I felt a pull, not just physical but metaphysical, as if my very essence was being drawn towards the core. The nanites in my body surged, yearning to connect with this vast network. For a moment, I glimpsed the universe as the Synthians saw it, a tapestry of infinite possibilities, waiting to be molded by will and technology. The power was intoxicating, terrifying in its scope. With tremendous effort, I wrenched myself back, gasping. Elena steadied me, her face pale with shock. "Jake, are you all right?" I nodded, trying to clear my head. I saw. But how could I describe the vastness, the potential, the danger I had sensed? Synth Prime's form rippled with what might have been concern. "You resist the call. Why? Can you not see the glory that awaits us all?" As I struggled to find words, an alarm blared through the complex. Synth Prime's form flickered, its attention clearly divided. "The Mina," it hissed, its harmonious voice now discordant. "They attack in desperation. Excuse me, honored guests. I must attend to our defenses." As Synth Prime vanished, I turned to Elena and the rest of our team. Their faces reflected the mix of awe and horror I felt. "We need to get back to the ship," I said, my voice hoarse. "Now." But as we turned to leave, we found our path blocked by a shimmering energy field. The walls of the chamber began to shift and flow, as if the entire structure was coming alive around us. We were trapped, caught between two warring factions in a conflict that threatened to reshape the very fabric of the universe. And somewhere out there, Zarvex and his team were facing their own challenges in Mina territory. The true test of our cosmic crucible was just beginning, and I feared we might not be prepared for the choices that lay ahead. The chamber around us pulsed with chaotic energy, mirroring the conflict raging outside. I could feel the nanites in my body reacting, trying to interface with the surrounding technology. It took all my concentration to maintain control and focus on our immediate predicament. "Elena," I called out, my voice steady despite the turmoil in my mind. "Can you interface with the local systems? Find us a way out." She nodded, her eyes glazing over slightly as she connected with the Synthian network. The rest of our team huddled close, their enhanced bodies tensed for action. It's unlike anything I've ever seen," Elena murmured, her fingers tracing invisible patterns in the air. "The entire city is a living organism, Jake, and it's evolving, adapting to the attack in real time." A thunderous boom shook the chamber, and for a moment, the energy field blocking our exit flickered. I saw our opportunity and took it. "Now!" I shouted, morphing my arm into a battering ram of hardened nanites. With a burst of enhanced strength, I smashed through the weakened barrier. We sprinted through the shifting corridors of the Synthian complex, the walls around us writhing like living tissue. Through windows of pure energy, I caught glimpses of the battle outside. Mina ships, organic in design yet bristling with weaponry, clashed with Synthian constructs that defied conventional physics. "We need to contact Zarvex," I said as we ran, my mind racing to formulate a plan. Whatever's happening, we can't take sides. We need to find a way to stop this conflict before it tears this world apart. Just as we rounded a corner, we came face to face with a group of Synthian defenders. Their forms were more solid than synth primes, but still rippled with barely contained energy. "Halt!" one of them commanded, its voice a cacophony of harmonics. "You will be escorted to a secure location for your protection." I stepped forward, my body tensed for action. "We appreciate your concern, but we have to return to our ship. We can't interfere in your conflict." The Cynthian's form pulsed with what might have been frustration. "You misunderstand. You are not guests any longer. You are assets to be protected and integrated." The implied threat hung in the air for a moment before all hell broke loose. The Cynthians launched a barrage of energy pulses, while my team responded with a combination of advanced Earth weaponry and Zarkov-inspired biomorphic attacks. The battle was chaotic and swift. Our merged biology gave us an edge in adaptability, but the Cynthians had home field advantage. They seemed to draw power directly from the surrounding structure, growing stronger with each passing moment. As I grappled with one of the Cynthian defenders, I felt its energy trying to interface with my nanites. For a split second, I again glimpsed the vast cosmic network they were tapped into. The sheer scale of it was mind-boggling, a web of consciousness spanning galaxies. With a supreme effort of will, I broke free, both physically and mentally. "Fall back," I ordered my team. "We need to find an external access point." We fought our way through the complex, the architecture itself seeming to work against us. Just as we thought we'd reached a dead end, the wall beside us exploded inward. "Thought you could use an extraction, Morrison," Chen grunted, his weathered face set in grim determination. As we rushed towards the waiting shuttle, I couldn't help but ask, "How did you find us?" Chen's lip curled in a half-smile. "Let's just say your Zarkov friend came through. He's waiting for us back on the ship with some interesting intel from the Mina." We boarded the shuttle under heavy fire, Cynthian energy blasts scorching the hull as we lifted off. As we broke atmosphere, I got my first clear view of the planet-wide battle. It was a spectacular and terrifying sight, two ideologies clashing with the fate of a world hanging in the balance. But something else caught my eye, a distortion in space near the planet's pole. It pulsed with the same energy I'd sensed in the Nexus core, growing larger by the moment. "Admiral," I said, my voice tight with urgency, "get us back to the Cosmic Envoy now. Whatever the Cynthians are planning, I have a feeling we're running out of time to stop it." As our shuttle raced towards the relative safety of our ship, I couldn't shake the feeling that we'd stumbled into something far bigger than a planetary conflict. The cosmic crucible was heating up, and the next few hours would determine not just the fate of this world, but potentially the future of the entire galaxy. The Cosmic Envoy's bridge was a hive of activity as we returned. Zarvex greeted us, its liquid metal form rippling with what I'd come to recognize as agitation. "Jake, the situation is far worse than we initially believed," it said without preamble. "The Mina showed us evidence that the Cynthians' actions are destabilizing not just this planet, but the entire star system." I nodded grimly, the pieces falling into place. "The distortion we saw, it's not just a weapon, is it?" Elena, who had been rapidly analyzing the data from both our excursions, looked up from her console. Her eyes were wide with a mixture of awe and horror. "It's a gateway, Jake. The Cynthians are trying to create a permanent connection to the cosmic network we glimpsed in the Nexus core." Admiral Chen's face hardened. "And let me guess, if they succeed, it's not just this world that's at risk." "The entire galaxy could be affected," I confirmed, the weight of the situation settling on my shoulders. "We need to stop them, but we can't simply destroy the Nexus core. The backlash could tear this system apart." Zarvex moved to the central holographic display, bringing up a schematic of the planet. The Mina believe there's a way to neutralize the core without causing catastrophic damage, but it would require direct access to their ancient temples, which are currently under Cynthian control. I studied the display, my enhanced mind rapidly formulating and discarding plans. We need a two-pronged approach. One team to infiltrate the temples and gather the necessary data, another to create a diversion at the Nexus core. I'll lead the temple team, Zarvex volunteered. My form will allow for easier infiltration. I nodded in agreement. Take Elena with you. Her scientific expertise will be crucial in deciphering the Mina technology. Admiral Chen stepped forward, his posture rigid with military discipline. I'll coordinate the diversion from here. We'll give the Cynthians a fight they won't soon forget. As the teams prepared for their respective missions, I found myself drawn to the viewport. The battle still raged across the planet's surface, streaks of energy crisscrossing the atmosphere. But it was the growing distortion that held my attention, its pulsing rhythm seeming to call to the nanites in my body. A hand on my shoulder broke my reverie. It was Elena, her eyes filled with determination and something else. Concern? Jake, she said softly, whatever happens down there, don't lose yourself. The power the Cynthians are tapping into, it's seductive. But remember who you are, what we stand for. I placed my hand over hers, feeling the subtle resonance between our nanite-enhanced bodies. I won't forget, Elena. Be careful down there. As she turned to join Zarvex's team, I steeled myself for what was to come. I would be leading the assault on the Nexus core, a direct confrontation with Synth Prime and the cosmic power they wielded. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of this world, but potentially the course of galactic evolution. As I donned my combat gear, each piece seamlessly integrating with my nanite-enhanced physiology, I couldn't help but wonder, were we truly ready for this crucible? Had our own merger prepared us for the challenges that lay ahead, or were we meddling with forces beyond our comprehension? The doubts threatened to overwhelm me, but I pushed them aside. We had come too far to turn back now. Whatever the outcome, humanity would take its first true steps onto the galactic stage today. All teams, prepare for deployment, I announced, my voice carrying the weight of command. May your aim be true and your nanites adaptive. The future of not just one world, but potentially our entire galaxy, rests in our hands. Let's make Earth proud. As we boarded our respective shuttles, I caught one last glimpse of the roiling distortion in the planet's atmosphere. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy, a siren call to the very fabric of space-time. Our cosmic crucible had reached its boiling point. It was time to see what we were truly made of. The descent towards the Nexus core was a maelstrom of energy and chaos. Our shuttle, enhanced with the best of Earth and Zarkoth technology, bucked and weaved through a barrage of Cynthian defenses. The nanites in my body hummed with anticipation, adapting to the increasing levels of cosmic radiation that permeated the atmosphere. 30 seconds to touchdown, our pilot announced, his voice steady despite the turbulence. I turned to my team, a mix of enhanced humans and Zarkoth volunteers. Remember, our primary objective is to create a diversion. Draw their attention, but do not, under any circumstances, attempt to interface directly with a core. We don't know what kind of effect that level of cosmic energy could have on our systems. As we touched down amidst the swirling architecture of the Cynthian complex, I felt a familiar pull. The Nexus core's energy signature was even stronger now, a siren call to the nanites in my body. I gritted my teeth, focusing on the mission at hand. We burst from the shuttle, our bodies morphing into combat configurations honed by years of training and simulation. The Cynthian defenders were on us in seconds, their energy forms coalescing into weapons of terrifying power. The battle was like nothing I had ever experienced. Every movement, every thought, seemed to alter the very fabric of reality around us. I saw members of my team perform feats that should have been impossible, their nanite-enhanced bodies pushing the boundaries of physics. As we fought our way deeper into the complex, I caught glimpses of the Nexus core through gaps in the ever-shifting architecture. It pulsed with an otherworldly light, the distortion around it growing with each passing moment. Suddenly, my calm crackled to life. It was Elena, her voice tight with urgency. "Jake, we've reached the Mina temples. The data here. It's incredible. The Cynthians aren't just tapping into a cosmic network. They're trying to rewrite the fundamental laws of our universe." "Can you stop it?" I asked, ducking under a blast of energy that left a hole in reality itself behind me. "We think so," Elena replied. "But we need time. And, Jake, be careful. The energy readings we're getting from the core are off the charts. If it destabilizes..." Her warning was cut off as a massive tremor shook the entire complex. I looked up to see Synth Prime descending from the apex of the core. Its energy formed now a swirling maelstrom of cosmic power. "You fool," its voice boomed, resonating not just in the air, but in the very nanites of my body. "You cannot stop the ascension. The universe itself demands our evolution." With a gesture, Synth Prime sent a wave of energy that scattered my team like leaves in a storm. I stood my ground, every nanite in my body straining to resist the overwhelming force. "This isn't evolution," I shouted back, my voice somehow carrying over the cosmic din. "It's destruction. You're tearing apart the very fabric of space-time." Synth Prime's form pulsed with what might have been laughter. "Such limited vision. We are not destroying the universe, Jake Morrison. We are remaking it. And you could be a part of this new cosmic order." I felt the pull again, stronger than ever. The nanites in my body resonated with the core's energy, showing me visions of power beyond imagination. For a moment, I saw the universe as Synth Prime did an infinite canvas waiting to be reshaped by will alone. But in that moment of temptation, I also saw the cost. Countless worlds, countless lives, snuffed out in the name of this twisted evolution. The diversity of the cosmos, the very thing that made it beautiful, erased in favor of a singular, homogeneous existence. With a supreme effort of will, I pushed back against the cosmic current. My nanites, instead of succumbing to the core's influence, began to adapt, to create a shield against its overwhelming power. "No," I said, my voice steady and resolute. "This isn't the way. True evolution comes from diversity, from the blending of different perspectives and experiences. What you're offering is stagnation, not ascension." Synth Prime's form writhed in fury. "Then you will be erased, like all who stand in the way of progress." As it launched a devastating attack, I braced myself for impact. But I wasn't afraid. Because at that moment, I knew that Elena and Zarvex would come through. And more importantly, I knew that the path we had chosen, the careful balance between organic and synthetic, between tradition and progress, was the right one. The cosmic crucible had reached its zenith, and in its heat, the true strength of our merged humanity would be forged. The clash between Synth Prime and myself was a battle that transcended the physical realm. Each blow exchanged sent ripples through the fabric of space-time, the very air around us shimmering with distortions of reality. My nanites worked overtime, constantly adapting to the onslaught of cosmic energy. I felt my body changing, evolving in real time to meet the challenge. But with each adaptation, I held on to my core self, the essence of what made me human. "You resist the inevitable," Synth Prime's voice boomed, its form a swirling maelstrom of energy. "Why cling to your limited existence when you could become one with the cosmos itself?" I dodged another attack, my enhanced reflexes allowing me to move in ways that defied conventional physics. "Because that existence, limited as it may be, is what gives life meaning," I shot back. "It's our struggles, our connections, our very mortality that drive us to grow, to love, to create." As we fought, I became acutely aware of the Nexus core pulsing behind Synth Prime. Its rhythm had changed, becoming more erratic. The distortion in the sky had grown, now visible even through the complex's structure. We were running out of time. Suddenly, my calm crackled to life. Elena's voice came through, filled with excitement and urgency. "Jake, we've done it. We've deciphered the Mina data. There's a way to neutralize the core without causing a catastrophic collapse." Hope surged through me, giving new strength to my battered body. What do I need to do? The core operates on a quantum entanglement principle, Elena explained rapidly. If you can disrupt its synchronization, even for a moment, it should create a cascade effect that will shut down the entire network. Zarvex's voice joined in. Jake, your nanites, if you can attune them to the inverse frequency of the core's energy signature. I understood immediately. It was risky, potentially suicidal, but it was our best shot. Got it. Get clear, both of you. This might get messy. Synth Prime, sensing my renewed determination, launched a furious assault. You cannot stop the ascension, the universe itself demands it. With a final, desperate lunge, I broke through Synth Prime's defenses. My hand, now glowing with an otherworldly light, plunged into the heart of the Nexus core. The sensation was indescribable. I felt my consciousness expand, touching the vast cosmic network that the Synthians had tapped into. For a moment, I glimpsed the infinite potential that had seduced them, the power to reshape reality itself. But I also saw the cost. Countless worlds, countless civilizations, all at risk of being erased in the name of this twisted evolution. And I saw something else, the delicate balance that held the universe together, a harmony of diverse forces that the Synthians' actions threatened to destroy. With every ounce of will I possessed, I held on to my sense of self. My nanites pulsed, sending out a counter-frequency that rippled through the core and out into the cosmic network. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The core's energy fluctuated wildly, its steady pulse becoming a chaotic storm. Synth Prime screamed, a sound that resonated on a quantum level. "What have you done?" it wailed, its form beginning to lose cohesion. I wrenched my hand free of the core, already feeling the massive structure beginning to destabilize. "I've given the universe a choice," I said, my voice hoarse with effort. "Evolution should be a journey, not a forced march." As the complex began to collapse around us, I saw the distortion in the sky flicker and fade. The cosmic gateway was closing, the threat to the galaxy receding. But we weren't out of danger yet. The core's destabilization was causing a chain reaction throughout the entire Synthian city. As I staggered towards the exit, I saw Synthians fleeing in all directions, their once perfect forms now in disarray. "Jake," Elena's voice came through the calm, filled with relief and concern. "The Mina are reporting that the cosmic disturbances are subsiding. But you need to get out of there now. The whole complex is coming down." As I ran, pushing my battered body to its limits, I couldn't help but reflect on the crucible we had just endured. We had faced the ultimate temptation of power and chosen a different path. But the consequences of that choice were still unfolding. The ground beneath my feet buckled and heaved as I finally reached the shuttle. As we lifted off, I caught one last glimpse of the Nexus core. It imploded in a spectacular display of light and energy, taking with it the dreams of cosmic domination that had driven the Synthians. But as we soared into the upper atmosphere, I knew that our trials were far from over. We had prevented one crisis, but in doing so, we had irrevocably altered the balance of power in this star system. And somewhere out there, the Guardians were watching, evaluating our actions. The cosmic crucible had forged us anew, but the true test of our evolution was just beginning. As the cosmic envoy broke orbit, leaving behind a world forever changed, I stood at the viewport, watching the planet shrink into the distance. The aftermath of our intervention was visible even from space, swirling energy patterns in the atmosphere, the remnants of the Synthians' grand design slowly dissipating. "Jake," Elena's voice broke through my reverie. She stood beside me, her expression a mix of exhaustion and wonder. "The long-range scans are showing something unusual." I turned to face her, noting the way her nanites shimmered beneath her skin, still adapting to the residual cosmic energy. "Unusual how?" She gestured to a nearby console, bringing up a holographic display of the star system. the collapse of the Nexus core didn't just stop the Cynthians' plans. It seems to have triggered a sort of reset in the local space-time continuum. As I studied the display, I saw what she meant. The chaotic energy patterns were coalescing into new formations, stabilizing the very fabric of reality that had been stretched to its limits. Zarvex joined us, its liquid metal form rippling with excitement. It's more than that. The Mina are reporting that some of their people, those who are on the brink of extinction due to the Cynthians' actions, are showing signs of renewal. Admiral Chen's gruff voice cut in from across the bridge. That's all well and good, but we've got a more immediate problem. We've picked up multiple signals approaching from the edge of the system. Big ones. My heart raced as I saw the readings. The energy signatures were unmistakable, reminiscent of what we'd experienced in the cosmic nexus years ago. The Guardians, I breathed. As if in response to my words, a massive ship materialized before us, dwarfing the cosmic envoy. Its design was beyond anything we'd ever seen, a perfect blend of organic and technological elements that made even our merged technology look primitive by comparison. A voice, or rather a chorus of voices, resonated through our minds. Children of Earth and Zarkoth, you have faced your crucible. Now, you must face judgment. The bridge fell silent, the weight of those words settling over us all. This was the moment we had both anticipated and dreaded since our first encounter with the cosmic civilization that had seeded our evolution. I stepped forward, my voice steady despite the turmoil in my mind. We're ready. We stand by our actions and the choices we've made. A beam of light engulfed me, and I found myself transported to what I can only describe as a cosmic courtroom. Beings of pure energy surrounded me, their forms shifting and changing in ways that defied comprehension. One being stepped forward, its voice resonating on a level that touched my very soul. Jake Morrison, representative of Earth and its merged society, you interfered with the natural evolution of the Proxima Centauri system. Explain your actions. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of not just my own world, but the fate of the Mina and even the misguided Cynthians on my shoulders. We came in response to a call for help, I began. What we found was not a natural evolution, but a forced ascension that threatened not just one world, but potentially the entire galaxy. Images flashed around us, replaying the events of the past few days. I saw our battles, our struggles, and the ultimate choice I had made at the Nexus core. We chose a path of balance, I continued, my voice growing stronger. A path that respects the diversity of life and the importance of choice in true evolution. We rejected the temptation of absolute power in favor of the potential that comes from cooperation and mutual growth. The beings conferred among themselves, their communications happening on a level I could sense but not fully comprehend. Finally, the central figure addressed me again. Your actions were bold, perhaps even reckless, but they were also unexpected. You have shown a capacity for growth and wisdom that exceeds our projections. A wave of energy washed over me, and suddenly I understood. The entire conflict, from the Cynthians' discovery of the cosmic network to our own intervention, had been a test, a crucible designed to push us to our limits and beyond. You have earned your place among the cosmic community, the Guardian announced. But with this recognition comes great responsibility. You will be tasked with guiding not just your own world, but helping to maintain the balance in your sector of the galaxy. As the implications of this judgment sank in, I felt a mix of pride, excitement, and trepidation. We had passed the test, but the real challenges were just beginning. I found myself back on the bridge of the Cosmic Envoy, my crew looking at me with a mix of awe and curiosity. As I relayed the Guardian's judgment, I could see the weight of our new role settling on each of them. So what now? Admiral Chen asked, his usual gruffness tinged with a note of wonder. I turned to look out at the stars, seeing them not as distant points of light, but as beacons of potential, of worlds and civilizations waiting to be discovered and aided. Now, I said, a smile playing on my lips, we go home. We share what we've learned, what we've become, and then we reach for the stars. Not as conquerors, not as ascended beings, but as explorers, peacekeepers, and friends to all forms of life. As the cosmic envoy set a course for Earth, I couldn't help but feel that this was not an end, but a beginning. Our cosmic crucible had forged us into something new, something that bridged the gap between organic and synthetic, between the physical and the metaphysical. The universe, in all its infinite wonder and diversity, awaited us, and we, the children of Earth and Zarkoth, were finally ready to take our place among the stars. The vastness of space never ceased to amaze me, even after 5 years of interstellar travel. As I stood on the bridge of the CSS Horizon, Earth's first true deep space peacekeeping vessel, I marveled at the swirling colors of the nebula before us. It was beautiful, awe-inspiring, and potentially deadly all at once. Nexian system coming into range, Captain Morrison, my first officer, Zarvex, announced. Its liquid metal form rippled with anticipation, a reflection of the excitement we all felt. I nodded, my nanite-enhanced senses already picking up the faint energy signatures of a civilization on the brink of a momentous discovery. Take us in, nice and easy, we don't want to spook them. As we approached the third planet of the system, I couldn't help but reflect on how far we'd come. The cosmic crucible we'd endured at Proxima Centauri had forged humanity and our Zarkoth allies into something new. We were no longer just explorers, but guardians, tasked with guiding younger civilizations towards their cosmic destiny. The Nexians were our latest charge, a species that our long-range scans suggested were on the cusp of a breakthrough similar to our own nanite revolution. Our mission was to observe, to guide if necessary, but never to interfere directly. The Guardians had been clear about that when they'd granted us this responsibility. Energy spike detected on the planet's surface, Elena reported from her science station. Even after all these years, her presence was a comfort in the face of the unknown. It matches the patterns we saw during Earth's early nanite experiments. I leaned forward, studying the holographic display of the planet. Looks like we got here just in time. Zarvex, prepare a stealth shuttle. We'll need to get a closer look. As my team prepared for our covert mission, I felt a familiar tingle at the base of my skull. The nanites in my body were reacting to something, an energy signature that shouldn't have been there. Jake, Elena's voice was tight with concern. I'm picking up some unusual readings. There's another ship in orbit, on the far side of the planet. It's using some kind of cloaking technology I've never seen before. My blood ran cold. We were supposed to be the first cosmic civilization to make contact with the Nexians. If someone had beaten us here. Can you get a visual? I asked, already dreading the answer. The main view screen flickered, and for a moment I thought the image was distorted. But as it cleared, I realized we were looking at a ship that defied conventional physics. It seemed to shift and change, even as we watched, its form a swirling mass of energy and matter. By the cosmos, Zarvex whispered, its normally fluid form rigid with shock. That's a Guardian vessel. The implications hit me like a physical blow. The Guardians were the cosmic overseers, the ones who had judged us worthy of our current role. What were they doing here, interfering directly with a developing civilization? Before I could voice my concerns, a transmission cut through our communications array. The voice that spoke was not the harmonious chorus we'd come to associate with the Guardians, but a single, discordant tone that set my teeth on edge. "Greetings, children of Earth," the voice said, dripping with condescension. "Your presence here is unexpected, but perhaps fortuitous. You're about to witness the dawn of a new era in cosmic evolution." As the transmission cut off, alarms blared across the bridge. Elena's voice, usually so calm, was filled with panic. "Jake, they're doing something to the planet. The energy readings are off the charts." I watched in horror as a beam of pure energy lanced out from the Guardian ship, striking the Nexian world with devastating precision. This was no act of guidance or protection. It was an assault, a forced evolution that went against everything we'd been taught. In that moment, I knew our mission had changed. We were no longer here just to observe and guide. We were the only thing standing between the Nexians and a cosmic power that seemed intent on rewriting the very rules of evolution. "Battle stations," I ordered, my voice steady despite the turmoil in my mind. "Whatever's happening down there, we need to stop it. The Guardians taught us to respect the natural course of evolution. If they've abandoned that principle, then it falls to us to uphold it." As the CSS Horizon moved to intercept the Guardian vessel, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were about to face a trial far greater than anything we'd encountered before. The cosmic balance hung in the balance, and we, the fledgling stewards of our galactic sector, were the only ones who could restore it. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of the Nexians, but potentially the future of cosmic evolution itself. And I, Jake Morrison, found myself once again at the center of a storm that threatened to reshape the very fabric of the universe. The CSS Horizon shuddered as we pushed its engines to their limits, racing to intercept the Guardian vessel. The vast distance between our ships seemed to shrink with each passing moment, the nanite-enhanced systems of our vessel straining against the laws of physics. "Weapons charged and ready," Admiral Chen's gruff voice cut through the tension on the bridge. Even after all these years, the old soldier's presence was a comfort in the face of the unknown. I nodded, my mind racing through potential scenarios. "Hold fire unless absolutely necessary. We need to try to communicate first." As we closed in, the Guardian ship's form continued to shift and writhe, its energy signature pulsing with power that made our own technology seem primitive by comparison. The beam connecting it to the Nexian world pulsed with increasing intensity. "Jake," Elena's voice was tight with urgency. "The energy readings from the planet's surface are reaching critical levels. Whatever they're doing down there, it's accelerating the Nexians' evolution at an unprecedented rate." I clenched my fists, feeling the nanites in my body respond to my heightened state of alertness. "Open a channel," I ordered. "Let's see if we can talk some sense into them." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that defied easy description. It was vaguely humanoid, but composed of swirling energy patterns that hurt to look at directly. When it spoke, its voice resonated not just through our audio systems, but seemed to vibrate the very nanites in our bodies. "Ah, the young Guardians arrive," the being said, its tone a mixture of amusement and disdain. "Come to witness the glorious ascension of another species." I stepped forward, mustering all the authority I could. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the CSS Horizon. By the authority granted to us by the Cosmic Council, I order you to cease your actions immediately. You're interfering with the natural evolution of a developing species." The being's form rippled in what might have been laughter. "Natural evolution? My dear child, there is nothing natural about evolution. It is a force to be harnessed, to be directed. We are merely accelerating what was always meant to be." As it spoke, I felt a familiar pull, reminiscent of our encounter with the Cynthians years ago. The nanites in my body hummed with resonance, drawn to the immense power the Guardian was wielding. "You're wrong," I said, fighting against the seductive call of that power. "Evolution is about choice, about adaptation over time. What you're doing isn't ascension, it's cosmic colonialism." The Guardian's form pulsed with what might have been anger. "You dare lecture us on the nature of cosmic law? We who have shepherded countless civilizations across the eons." Suddenly, the beam connecting the Guardian ship to the planet intensified. On our sensor readings, I watched in horror as entire continents on the Nexian world began to shift and change. "Enough talk," the Guardian declared. "If you will not bear witness to this glorious transformation, then you will be removed from the equation." Before we could react, a burst of energy lanced out from the Guardian vessel. It struck the horizon with devastating precision, bypassing our shields as if they weren't even there. Alarms blared across the bridge as systems began to fail. I felt the nanites in my body go haywire, struggling to adapt to the foreign energy now coursing through our ship. "Hull breach on decks 3 through 7, Zarvex reported, its liquid metal form rippling with effort as it interfaced directly with the ship's systems. "We're venting atmosphere." As chaos erupted around me, I knew we were outmatched in terms of raw power. But we had something the Guardian didn't, the very diversity and adaptability that we sought to protect. All hands, initiate emergency protocol Omega, I ordered. It was a desperate move, one we'd theorized but never had to use in practice. Across the ship, I felt the collective consciousness of our crew merge through our nanite networks. Human, Zarkoth, and the hybrid forms we'd developed over the years all united in a singular purpose. As the Guardian prepared to deliver a killing blow, our ship began to change. The very hull shifted and flowed, nanites working in concert to adapt to the cosmic energies being wielded against us. We were no match for the Guardian's raw power, but perhaps, just perhaps, our collective will and adaptability could buy us the time we needed to save the Nexians and uncover the truth behind this rogue Guardian's actions. The real battle, I realized, was only just beginning, and the fate of not just one world, but the very nature of cosmic evolution, hung in the balance. The CSS Horizon groaned and shuddered as it underwent its metamorphosis. Through our merged consciousness, I felt every change, every adaptation our collective will impose upon our vessel. The sleek lines of our ship became more organic, with sections of the hull developing a crystalline structure that refracted the Guardian's energy attacks. Remarkable, the Guardian's voice boomed, a note of genuine surprise in its tone. You've learned to harness the power of collective evolution. Perhaps you are not as primitive as I first thought. I gritted my teeth, focusing our shared consciousness on maintaining our defenses. We're not here to impress you, I shot back. We're here to stop you from destroying everything the Cosmic Council stands for. As we spoke, I directed a portion of our merged awareness towards the Nexian planet. Through our enhanced sensors, I could see the changes wrought by the Guardian's forced evolution. Entire cities were transforming, their structures twisting into impossible geometries, and the Nexians themselves. My heart ached at the sight of their forms warping and changing against their will. Elena, I subvocalized through our nanite network, can you get a read on the Nexians' condition? Her response came not in words, but in a flood of data and impressions. The Nexians were in agony, their bodies and minds being rewritten on a fundamental level. But beneath the pain and confusion, I sensed something else, resistance, a core of individuality that refused to be erased. That spark of defiance gave me an idea. Zarvex, Admiral Chen, I called out, my voice resonating through our shared consciousness. Prepare to divert all power to our primary deflector array. We're going to give the Nexians a fighting chance. As my crew rushed to comply, I opened a channel to the Guardian ship once more. You claim to be shepherding these civilizations, I said, letting my disgust show plainly. But true guardianship is about guidance, not control. You're no better than the Synthians we stopped years ago. The Guardian's form pulsed with what might have been anger. You understand nothing. The cosmos is harsh and unforgiving. Only through directed evolution can species hope to survive the trials that await them. You're wrong, I countered. It's our challenges, our struggles, that make us strong. You're not creating a superior species. You're breeding out the very adaptability that's allowed life to flourish across the galaxy. Before the Guardian could respond, I gave the order. Now. The Horizon's deflector array lit up, sending a carefully modulated beam of our own towards the Nexian planet. It wasn't meant to counter the Guardian's energy directly, that would have been impossible given the vast difference in our power levels. Instead, we targeted the Nexians themselves, using our own nanite technology to bolster their natural resistance to the force changes. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across the planet's surface, the chaotic transformations began to slow and, in some cases, even reverse. The Nexians' innate adaptability, amplified by our intervention, was allowing them to assert control over their own evolution. The Guardian ship reeled back, its energy beam fluctuating. "What have you done?" it demanded, its voice no longer calm and condescending, but filled with genuine alarm. I allowed myself a grim smile. "We've given them a choice, the same choice every species deserves, to determine their own path of evolution. But our victory was short-lived. The Guardian's ship pulsed with renewed energy, and I sensed it preparing an attack that would dwarf its previous assaults. "Admirable," the Guardian's voice boomed, "but ultimately futile. You cannot hope to stand against the full might of a cosmic overseer." As a wave of energy unlike anything we'd ever encountered barreled towards us, I realized that our act of defiance, while morally right, might have doomed us all. The Horizon's newly adapted defenses buckled under the onslaught, and I felt our collective consciousness begin to fragment. In that moment of crisis, as our ship threatened to tear itself apart, I sensed something else. A presence, vast and ancient, stirring at the edges of my perception. And with it came a realization: we were not alone in this fight. The true test of our worth as galactic stewards was about to begin, and the fate of not just the Nexians, but potentially the entire cosmic order, hung in the balance. As the Guardian's devastating attack threatened to tear the Horizon apart, the presence I'd sensed crystallized into a tangible force. Suddenly, a shimmering barrier sprang into existence around our ship, absorbing the brunt of the cosmic energy. "Hold steady," I commanded through our shared consciousness, feeling the strain on our collective minds as we struggled to comprehend what was happening. The viewscreen flickered, and a new figure appeared. Unlike the chaotic energy form of our attacker, this being radiated a sense of serene power. Its voice, when it spoke, was the familiar chorus we'd come to associate with the true Guardians. "Enough," it said, the single word carrying the weight of eons. "You have overstepped your bounds, Nexiron." Our attacker's form recoiled, its swirling energy patterns displaying what I could only interpret as shock. "Eldest, you don't understand. I'm doing what's necessary for the greater good of the cosmos." The newcomer, apparently a higher-ranking Guardian, turned its attention to us. I felt a gentle probe against our collective consciousness, not invasive, but curious. "Jake Morrison," it addressed me directly, "you and your crew have shown remarkable courage and wisdom in the face of a power far beyond your understanding. We owe you an explanation and an apology." As the being spoke, I felt our ship's systems stabilizing, the damage from the attack reversing itself. Even the nanites in our bodies seemed to hum with renewed energy. "Nexiron is one of our youngest Guardians," the eldest explained. "In his eagerness to see species evolve and join the cosmic community, he has forgotten the most fundamental law of our order, the right of self-determination." I nodded, still wary but sensing no deception from this entity. We couldn't stand by and watch an entire civilization be forcibly transformed. "It goes against everything we believe in, everything you taught us." The eldest form pulsed with what I interpreted as approval. "And that is precisely why you were chosen for this role, Jake Morrison. Your species' ability to balance progress with ethical considerations is rare and valuable." Nexiron's form writhed in frustration. "But the threats that lurk in the dark spaces between galaxies, these younger races need to be prepared." "Preparation does not mean control," the eldest countered. "True strength comes from overcoming challenges, not from having power handed to you." As the two cosmic beings debated, I turned my attention back to the Nexian world. Through our enhanced sensors, I could see the chaotic transformations stabilizing. The Nexians were adapting, their innate potential awakened by the ordeal, but in a way that maintained their essential nature. "Eldest," I interjected, drawing the attention of both Guardians. "What happens to the Nexians now? We've interfered in their development, however well-intentioned our actions were." The eldest form shimmered thoughtfully. "A valid concern. The Nexians have been given a glimpse of their cosmic potential earlier than we had planned. But perhaps this is an opportunity." With a gesture, the eldest created a holographic display of the Nexian planet. "Observe," it said. We watched in awe as the Nexians, their bodies still shimmering with residual energy from the forced evolution attempt, began to work together in ways they never had before. Cities were being rebuilt, not as they were, but as marvels of organic technology that rivaled anything we'd seen in our travels. "They're adapting," Elena's voice came through our shared link, filled with wonder. "Not just physically, but socially and technologically. It's like they've taken the potential Nexiron tried to force on them and made it their own. The eldest nodded, its form radiating a sense of satisfaction. This is the true path of evolution. Challenges arise and species adapt, not through external control, but through their own efforts and choices. Turning its attention back to us, the eldest's voice took on a more formal tone. Jake Morrison, crew of the CSS Horizon, you have proven yourselves worthy of the trust placed in you. The task before you now is to guide the Nexians as they take their first steps into the galactic community. Not as controllers or saviors, but as friends and advisors. As the implications of this new mission sank in, I felt a mix of excitement and trepidation ripple through our collective consciousness. We were being entrusted with not just the protection, but the mentorship of an entire civilization. We accept this responsibility, I said, my voice steady despite the weight of the moment. But what of Nexiron? And are there others like him who might interfere with developing worlds? The eldest's form dimmed slightly, a gesture I took to indicate solemnity. Nexiron will be re-educated. As for others, that is part of your ongoing mission. You are not just stewards of individual worlds, but of the very principles that govern cosmic evolution. As the eldest spoke, I sensed the boundaries of our mission expanding. We were no longer just peacekeepers or guides, but guardians of a cosmic philosophy that valued diversity, self-determination, and ethical progress. The challenges ahead would be immense, but as I felt the united resolve of my crew, I knew we were ready to face whatever the universe had in store for us. Our journey as true galactic stewards was just beginning. The days that followed our confrontation with Nexiron were a whirlwind of activity. As the eldest and the other true guardians departed, taking the chase in Nexiron with them, we were left with the monumental task of establishing first contact with the newly evolved Nexians. Our ship, still bearing the organic crystalline modifications from our desperate battle, hung in low orbit around the Nexian homeworld. Through our enhanced sensors, we watched as the planet below pulsed with newfound energy and potential. It's remarkable, Zarvex mused, its liquid metal form rippling with excitement as it analyzed the data streaming in. The Nexians have taken the fragments of advanced technology forced upon them and are already adapting it to suit their own needs and culture. I nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and concern. That's exactly why we need to proceed with caution. They've been thrust into a level of advancement they weren't prepared for. Our job is to guide them, not overwhelm them further. Admiral Chen, ever the pragmatist, spoke up. We should establish a perimeter around the system. If Nexiron could find this world, others might too. We need to ensure the Nexians have the space to develop without further interference. Agreed, I said, already formulating plans. Zarvex, work with Elena to set up a network of stealth sensor buoys around the system. We'll create an early warning system without alerting the Nexians to our presence just yet. As my crew sprang into action, I retreated to my ready room to prepare for the most crucial part of our mission, first contact. The eldest had entrusted us with this task, and I was determined to get it right. Hours later, as I pored over cultural data and linguistic analyses, my comm badge chimed. Captain, Elena's voice came through, tinged with excitement. We're picking up a transmission from the planet's surface. I think they're trying to contact us. My heart raced as I hurried back to the bridge. On the main view screen, a message was being decoded in real time. It wasn't in any language we recognized, but the intent was clear. The Nexians knew we were here, and they were reaching out. They've developed faster than light communications in a matter of days, Zarvex observed, its tone a mixture of awe and concern. The rate of their advancement is unprecedented. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what was to come. Open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves properly. The view screen flickered, and we found ourselves face to face with a Nexian. Its appearance was a striking blend of its original form and the advanced technology it had incorporated. Multiple eyes blinked at us curiously, while tendrils of what looked like living circuitry waved gently around its head. Greetings, beings from beyond, the Nexian spoke, its words translated by our advanced systems. We are the Nexians, though we find ourselves changed. Are you the ones responsible for our awakening? I stepped forward, choosing my words carefully. I am Captain Jake Morrison of the CSS Horizon. We intervened when another force attempted to alter your natural course of evolution. But the changes you've undergone, the advancements you've made, those are your own achievements. The Nexian's eyes blinked in rapid succession, a gesture our systems interpreted as deep thought. We remember pain, confusion, and then clarity. Our world was transforming around us, our bodies and minds expanding beyond what we thought possible. But it was your energy, your essence, that allowed us to take control of these changes. I nodded, relieved that they understood at least part of what had transpired. We believe in the right of all species to determine their own path. We couldn't stand by and watch that right be taken from you. The Nexian's tendrils waved in what seemed to be a gesture of gratitude. Then we owe you a great debt, Captain Morrison. But we find ourselves at a crossroads. Our society has advanced centuries in mere days. We have glimpsed the cosmos and our place in it. Yet we fear we may not be ready for what awaits us out there. This was the moment I realized the true purpose of our mission as galactic stewards, not to control or dictate, but to offer guidance and support to a species on the brink of a new era. Your concerns are valid, I said, infusing my voice with all the reassurance I could muster. The universe is vast, filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination, but you don't have to face it alone. If you're willing, we'd like to offer our knowledge and experience to help you navigate this new chapter in your history. The Nexian's form seemed to pulse with excitement. We would be honored to learn from you, Captain Morrison. But tell us, what do you ask in return for this guidance? I smiled, feeling the weight of the moment. We ask only that you remember this feeling, the wonder, the potential, the responsibility that comes with cosmic awareness, and that when the time comes, you too will stand ready to guide others as they take their first steps into the galactic community. As the Nexian agreed, I felt a sense of profound rightness settle over me. This was why we had been chosen, why we had faced the trials we had. Not just to explore or to fight, but to shepherd new civilizations into a vast and complex cosmic society. Our journey as galactic stewards was truly beginning, and with it, a new chapter in the history of not just humanity, but of all sentient life in our sector of the galaxy. The weeks that followed our initial contact with the Nexians were a whirlwind of cultural exchange and careful guidance. We established a base of operations on one of the planet's moons, close enough to offer assistance, but far enough to avoid overwhelming the Nexians with our constant presence. From our lunar outpost, we watched in awe as Nexian society transformed at an unprecedented rate. Cities reshaped themselves into marvels of organic technology, while their understanding of cosmic principles advanced by decades each day. It's incredible, Elena mused during one of our daily briefings. They're not just copying the technology they were exposed to. They're innovating, finding applications we never even considered. I nodded, both proud and slightly concerned. That's exactly why we need to be careful. Their rate of advancement could easily outpace their ethical and social development if we're not vigilant. Zarvex, who had been working closely with a group of Nexian scientists, chimed in. They're asking more questions about the wider galaxy. I think they're nearly ready for their first off-world expedition. The idea both excited and terrified me. The Nexians had come so far in such a short time, but were they truly ready to take their place among the stars? As if in answer to my unspoken question, our communications array lit up with an incoming transmission from the planet's surface. The face that appeared on our view screen was that of Xylos, the Nexian leader we'd been working most closely with. Captain Morrison, Xylos greeted, its multiple eyes blinking in what we'd learned was a sign of excitement. We have a proposal we'd like to discuss with you and your team. Intrigued, I gestured for Xylos to continue. Our scientists have been studying the principles behind your faster-than-light travel, Xylos explained. We believe we've developed a prototype vessel capable of interstellar flight. With your permission and guidance, we'd like to attempt our first journey beyond our solar system." The request took me by surprise. I exchanged glances with my senior staff, seeing my own mix of emotions reflected in their faces. This was a monumental step, one that would irrevocably change Nexian society. "Xylos," I began carefully, "interstellar travel is a significant milestone for any species. Are you certain your people are ready for the responsibilities and potential dangers that come with it?" Xylos's tendrils waved in a gesture we'd come to recognize as deep consideration. "We understand your concerns, Captain, but we feel that taking this step, under your guidance, is crucial for our continued growth. We don't wish to explore out of mere curiosity, but to begin taking our place as members of the galactic community you've told us about." I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride at Xylos's words. This was exactly the kind of thoughtful, measured approach we'd been hoping to instill. "Very well," I said after a moment's reflection. "We would be honored to accompany you on your first interstellar voyage. But first, I'd like my team to review your ship's designs and help prepare your crew for what they might encounter." Xylos's form pulsed with what we'd learned was their expression of joy. "Thank you, Captain Morrison. We look forward to taking this next step with you by our side." As the transmission ended, I turned to my crew. "Well, it looks like we have our work cut out for us. Zarvex, I want you to work with their engineering team. Make sure their ship is up to the task. Elena, start putting together a crash course in interstellar protocols and potential first contact scenarios." Admiral Chen, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. "And what if we encounter hostile forces out there? The Nexians aren't prepared for combat in space." I considered his words carefully. "You're right, Admiral. Work with their defense ministry. Show them how to set up basic shields and non-lethal deterrents. But make it clear that we're explorers and diplomats first, not conquerors." As my team dispersed to their tasks, I found myself staring out the viewport at the Nexian world below. In just a few short weeks, they had progressed from a planet-bound civilization to one on the brink of interstellar travel. It was a testament to their potential, but also a stark reminder of the responsibility we bore as their guides. The true test of our role as galactic stewards was about to begin. We weren't just introducing the Nexians to the wonders of the cosmos. We were shaping how they would interact with it for generations to come. As I prepared to beam down to the planet to oversee the final preparations, I couldn't shake a feeling of both excitement and trepidation. The universe was vast and often dangerous, but it was also filled with infinite possibilities. Our job was to help the Nexians navigate that delicate balance, to show them the wonders that awaited, while also preparing them for the challenges they would inevitably face. The next phase of our mission was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in the cosmic history of our galaxy. The day of the Nexians' first interstellar flight arrived with a palpable sense of anticipation. I stood in the control center of their newly constructed spaceport, marveling at how seamlessly they had integrated their organic technology with the principles we had shared. Xylos approached, its form shimmering with barely contained excitement. "Captain Morrison, our crew is ready. The stellar nexus awaits your final inspection." I nodded, following Xylos to the launch pad where the Nexian vessel stood. The stellar nexus was a sight to behold, its hull a perfect blend of crystalline structures and living metal. It pulsed with an inner light that reminded me of our own ship's transformation during the battle with Nexiron. As we boarded, I was struck by how alien yet familiar the interior felt. The Nexians had taken our concepts of starship design and adapted them to suit their unique physiology and cultural aesthetics. "Impressive," I murmured, running my hand along a console that seemed to respond to my touch. "You've created something truly unique here, Xylos." The Nexian leader's tendrils waved in what I'd come to recognize as their version of a proud smile. "We've learned much from you, Captain, but we've also stayed true to our own path. This ship represents the best of both our peoples." As we completed the inspection, I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. The Nexians had come so far in such a short time, and yet they had maintained their core identity and values. It was everything we had hoped for as galactic stewards. Back in the control center, I gave the final approval for launch. The CSS Horizon would escort the stellar Nexus on its maiden voyage, a short jump to a neighboring star system we had previously scouted and deemed safe. As the countdown began, I felt a familiar tingle at the base of my skull. The nanites in my body were reacting to something, an energy signature that shouldn't have been there. I glanced at Elena, seeing the same concern reflected in her eyes. "Jake," she whispered, "I'm picking up some unusual readings. There's a distortion forming in the upper atmosphere." Before I could respond, the sky above the spaceport seemed to ripple and tear. A ship emerged from the distortion, its design unlike anything we had encountered before. It was neither the flowing organic shapes of the Guardians nor the sleek lines of advanced cosmic civilizations. This vessel looked predatory. Alarms blared across the control center as the unknown ship descended rapidly towards the launch pad. Xylos's multiple eyes widened in alarm. "Captain Morrison, what's happening? Is this part of the test?" I shook my head grimly. "No, Xylos. This is exactly the kind of situation we hope to prepare you for, but not so soon." I tapped my comm badge, opening a channel to the horizon. "Admiral Chen, battle stations. We have an unknown hostile entering Nexian airspace." As Chen acknowledged the order, I turned to Xylos. "We need to get your people to safety. The stellar nexus might be their best chance if we need to evacuate." Xylos nodded, its form rippling with a mixture of fear and determination. "We trust you, Captain. What do you need us to do?" Before I could answer, a booming voice filled the air, seeming to come from everywhere at once. "Attention, inhabitants of this world. We are the Harvesters. Your technological awakening has not gone unnoticed. Prepare to be assimilated. Resistance is inadvisable." My blood ran cold. In all our preparations, in all the scenarios we had run, we had never anticipated a threat like this emerging so soon. The Nexians were about to face their first true cosmic crisis, and we, their appointed guardians, were all that stood between them and a force that sought to strip them of their newfound identity. As the Harvester ship loomed ever closer, I knew that the true test of our role as galactic stewards was upon us. We had guided the Nexians this far, but now we would have to protect them, to show them how to stand strong in the face of a hostile universe. The next few hours would determine not just the fate of the Nexian civilization, but also the effectiveness of our entire approach to shepherding young species into the cosmic community. I squared my shoulders, feeling the nanites in my body humming with readiness. "Xylos," I said, my voice steady despite the chaos erupting around us. "It's time to put everything we've taught you into practice. Your people's first challenge has arrived sooner than we expected, but I believe in you. Are you ready to defend your world?" Xylos's form seemed to grow more solid, more resolute. "We are ready, Captain Morrison. Lead the way." As we raced to implement our hastily formed defense plans, I couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would reshape not just the Nexians' future, but our entire understanding of our role in the galaxy. The Harvesters were an unknown variable, a threat we hadn't prepared for. How we handled this crisis would set the tone for all our future interactions with emerging civilizations. The battle for Nexia was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in our journey as galactic stewards. The Harvester ship descended through Nexia's atmosphere, its hull crackling with energy that disrupted our sensors. I barked orders into my comm badge, coordinating with both the CSS Horizon and the Nexian defense forces we had helped train. "Admiral Chen, maintain high orbit and prepare to intercept any additional hostiles. Zarvex, I need you to work with the Nexian engineers. See if you can adapt their planetary defense grid to counter whatever technology the Harvesters are using." As my crew sprang into action, I turned to Xylos. "We need to evacuate your civilian population to the designated shelters, and I hate to say it, but we might need to consider using the Stellar Nexus as a potential escape vessel." Xylos's form rippled with what I recognized as determination tinged with fear. Understood, Captain. But we will not abandon our world so easily. The Nexus was built to explore, but if necessary, it will defend. I nodded, pride swelling in my chest at their resolve. This was the spirit we had hoped to foster, a willingness to face challenges head-on, while also understanding the value of preservation. Suddenly, the air around us shimmered, and several humanoid figures materialized in the control center. Their bodies were a disturbing blend of organic matter and machine, reminding me of the Synthians, but with a cold, predatory efficiency that sent chills down my spine. "Your defenses are impressive, but futile," the lead harvester announced, its voice a grating synthetic tone. "Your technology, your very essence, will be added to our own. Surrender now, and the process will be less unpleasant." I stepped forward, placing myself between the harvesters and Xylos. "This world is under our protection. The Nexians are not yours to assimilate or harvest. Leave now or face the consequences." The harvester's eyes, glowing an unnatural red, focused on me. "Ah, the guardians we've heard whispers of. Your interference is noted and rejected. This species' potential is too great to be left to develop naturally. They will serve a greater purpose as part of our collective." As it spoke, I felt a familiar tingle in my nanites. They were reacting to the harvester technology, analyzing and adapting. An idea began to form in my mind, risky, but potentially game-changing. "Xylos," I subvocalized, knowing the Nexian leader could pick up my nanite transmissions. "Remember the defensive protocols we discussed. Initiate them now, but be ready to modify on my signal." Without waiting for a response, I addressed the harvesters again. "You speak of adding to your collective, but you understand nothing of true growth. The Nexians' potential lies in their uniqueness, in the very individuality you seek to strip away." The lead harvester took a menacing step forward. "Bold words from a species that augments itself with machines. You are not so different from us." "That's where you're wrong," I countered, feeling my nanites surge with purpose. "Our technology enhances our individuality. It doesn't erase it. Let me show you the true power of diversity." With that, I unleashed my nanites in a way I never had before. They poured from my body in a silver stream, interfacing with the Nexian technology around us. Through our shared connection, I felt Xylos and the other Nexians join their consciousness with mine, creating a unified but diverse network of minds. The harvesters recoiled, clearly unprepared for this level of resistance. Their own cybernetic implants seemed to sputter and glitch as they came into contact with our combined nanite field. "Impossible," the lead harvester growled, its confident demeanor cracking. "Your technology, it's adapting faster than we can assimilate." I pressed our advantage, both physically and mentally. Our unified consciousness reached out, not to dominate or assimilate, but to understand. And in that understanding, we found the harvester's weakness. "You've forgotten the very thing that makes life worth preserving," I said, my voice resonating with the combined will of humans, Zarkoth, and Nexians. "Diversity, individuality, the beauty of unique perspectives coming together. That's what gives us strength." As I spoke, the Nexian defense grid came online, but not as a weapon. Instead, it projected a field of energy that resonated with our combined consciousness. The harvester troops began to falter, their cybernetic components unable to cope with the harmonious yet diverse energy surrounding them. The lead harvester stumbled back, its red eyes flickering. "What? What is this? Our collective, I can feel, individuality." For a moment, I saw a flicker of something almost human in its eyes. The rigid, hive mind control was weakening, allowing buried personalities to resurface. "This is your chance," I said, softening my tone. "Not to assimilate, but to remember who you were, who you could be again." The control center fell silent as the harvesters struggled internally, millennia of enforced collective consciousness battling against reawakened individuality. It was a tense moment, the fate of not just Nexia, but potentially countless other worlds hanging in the balance. Finally, the lead harvester looked up, its eyes no longer a solid red, but showing hints of natural color. I, had forgotten. The joy of discovery, the strength found in cooperation rather than assimilation. How did we lose our way? As the other harvesters showed similar signs of awakening, I maintained our defensive stance but allowed hope to bloom. This was more than just a victory in battle, it was a vindication of everything we stood for as galactic stewards. The path back to individuality won't be easy, I said, addressing not just the harvesters but also Xylos and my own crew. But if you're willing to try, we're here to help. That's what true guardianship is about, not control or assimilation, but guidance and support. As the harvesters began to lower their weapons, I knew we had just opened a new chapter, not just in Nexian history, but in our understanding of cosmic civilizations. The challenges ahead would be immense, but for the first time, I felt truly confident in our role as galactic stewards. We had faced our first major crisis not with superior firepower, but with the very principles we sought to uphold, and in doing so, we had potentially saved not just one world, but an entire civilization from a dark and lonely path. The true work of rehabilitation and integration was just beginning. But as I looked at the mixture of species in the control center, Nexian, human, Zarkoth, and now even the awakening harvesters, I knew we were on the right path. The galaxy was vast and often dangerous, but with understanding, cooperation, and a commitment to preserving the beautiful diversity of life, we could face any challenge that came our way. The days following the Harvester incident were a whirlwind of activity and profound change. The Nexian spaceport, once a symbol of the species' aspirations to join the galactic community, had become a hub of interspecies cooperation and healing. I stood on an observation deck, watching as Nexian scientists worked alongside former harvesters, their combined expertise yielding insights that pushed the boundaries of our understanding of both organic and synthetic life. "It's remarkable," Zarvex said, its liquid metal form rippling with what I'd come to recognize as awe. The Harvester's cybernetic technology, when integrated with Nexian organic systems and our own nanites, the potential applications are staggering. I nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and caution. It's exciting, but we need to be careful. We don't want to repeat the mistakes that led the Harvesters down their path in the first place. As if on cue, Xylos approached, accompanied by Vex 427, the former lead harvester who had been the first to break free from the collective consciousness. "Captain Morrison," Xylos greeted, its multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession, a sign of excitement. "We've made a breakthrough in our understanding of the harvester hive mind. Vex 427 believes we can use this knowledge to help free other harvester collectives across the galaxy." Vex 427 nodded, its partly organic, partly cybernetic face showing an expression that was becoming more natural with each passing day. "The signal we used to awaken my people here, we think we can amplify it, broadcast it across vast distances. We could potentially free millions from the tyranny of forced assimilation." The implications were enormous. We had come to Nexia to guide a single species into the galactic community, and now we were on the brink of a discovery that could reshape the political landscape of entire sectors. "This is big," I said, my mind racing with the potential consequences. "Too big for us to decide alone. We need to consult with the Guardians, make sure we're not overstepping our bounds as stewards." Xylos's tendrils waved in a gesture of agreement. "We understand, Captain. Our recent experiences have taught us the importance of careful consideration before taking actions that could affect others on a cosmic scale." I couldn't help but feel a surge of pride at Xylos's words. The Nexians had come so far in such a short time, not just technologically, but ethically and philosophically as well. "There's something else," Vex 427 added, its tone hesitant. "In our efforts to understand the hive mind, we've detected anomalies, signals that don't match any known harvester protocols. We think there might be other forces at work in the galaxy, forces that may have influenced the harvester's evolution into what we became." A chill ran down my spine. The idea that there might be some overarching power manipulating species on a galactic scale was disturbing, to say the least. It brought to mind our encounter with Nexiron and the rogue faction of Guardians. "We need to proceed with extreme caution," I said, my voice grave. "Zarvex, I want you to work with the Nexian and Harvester teams. Develop this technology, but keep it contained. No test broadcast until we've consulted with the Guardians and fully understood the potential risks." As my crew and our new allies dispersed to their tasks, I found myself once again staring out at the stars. The universe had just become a whole lot bigger and potentially more dangerous than we had ever imagined. I tapped my comm badge. "Morrison to Horizon. Admiral Chen, I need you to compile all the data we have on unusual stellar phenomena, unexplained ship movements, anything that might indicate large-scale manipulation of species or star systems, and send a priority message to Earth. The Council needs to be briefed on these developments." As I ended the transmission, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were standing on the precipice of something monumental. Our role as galactic stewards was expanding far beyond what we had initially envisioned. We weren't just guiding a single species anymore. We were potentially uncovering secrets that could reshape our understanding of cosmic history and politics. The challenges ahead were daunting, but as I looked around at the diverse group of beings working together, humans, Zarkoth, Nexians, and reformed harvesters, I felt a glimmer of hope. Whatever forces were at work in the galaxy, whatever trials awaited us, we would face them together, united in our commitment to preserving the beautiful diversity of cosmic life. As I prepared to draft my report to the Council, I steeled myself for the journey ahead. The true test of our role as galactic stewards was just beginning, and the fate of not just one world or one species, but potentially the entire galactic order, hung in the balance. The stars beckoned, filled with both promise and peril, and we, the united crew of the CSS Horizon and our new allies, were ready to answer their call. The CSS Horizon hummed with energy as we prepared for our next mission. The ship had been upgraded with a hybrid of Nexian organic tech and reformed Harvester cybernetics, all seamlessly integrated with our existing systems. It was a testament to what could be achieved when diverse species worked together. I stood on the bridge, surveying my crew. Humans, Zarkoth, and now representatives from both the Nexians and the reformed Harvesters all worked in harmony. It was everything I had hoped for when we first embarked on our role as galactic stewards, and yet the challenges ahead seemed more daunting than ever. "Captain," Elena called from her science station, "we're receiving a transmission from the Guardians. It's different from their usual communications." I frowned, moving to her console. "Different how?" "It's not the collective voice we're used to. It seems to be coming from a single entity, and the energy signature is erratic." My heart raced as the implications set in. "Put it on screen." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being of pure energy, but unlike the serene forms we'd encountered before, this guardian seemed to be in distress. Its form flickered and pulsed erratically. "Jake Morrison," the guardian's voice resonated, filled with urgency. "You and your crew must come to the Nexus immediately. The balance, it's shifting. The rogue faction, they're making their move." "Slow down," I said, trying to project calm. "What's happening? What rogue faction?" The Guardian's form stabilized slightly. "The dissenters, like Nexiron, they were just the beginning. There's a group within our ranks who believe that active intervention is necessary to guide the galaxy's evolution. They're planning to activate ancient technologies, to force a cosmic leap in development across multiple sectors." The gravity of the situation hit me like a physical blow. But that could destabilize entire civilizations, maybe even the fabric of space-time itself. "Precisely," the Guardian confirmed. "We need your help, Jake Morrison. Your unique perspective, your ability to bridge different species and technologies. It may be the key to preventing a catastrophe." I looked around at my crew, seeing the determination in their eyes. We had come so far, faced so many challenges, but this was beyond anything we had prepared for. "Will come," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil in my mind. "But I need you to understand something. We're not just your agents. We represent a new way forward, a balance between guidance and self-determination. Whatever happens at the Nexus, we'll act in the best interests of all sentient life, not just follow orders." The Guardian's form pulsed with what I interpreted as approval. "That is precisely why you were chosen, Jake Morrison. Your journey as galactic stewards has prepared you for this moment. The future of cosmic evolution hangs in the balance, and you and your diverse crew may be the fulcrum upon which it turns." As the transmission ended, I turned to my crew. "You all heard that. I won't order anyone to come on this mission. The risks are, well, we don't even fully understand them. But what we do know is that if we don't act, countless civilizations could be irrevocably altered against their will." Zarvex stepped forward, its liquid metal form resolute. "We stand with you, Captain. This is what we've been preparing for all along." One by one, the others nodded their agreement. Humans, Zarkoth, Nexians, and even our reformed Harvester allies, all united in purpose. "Very well," I said, feeling a swell of pride and determination. "Helm, set a course for the cosmic nexus, maximum speed." As the horizon leapt into faster-than-light travel, I couldn't help but reflect on how far we'd come. We had started as explorers, became peacekeepers, then mentors to a fledgling civilization. Now, we were about to step onto a cosmic stage, to play a role in shaping the very future of galactic evolution. The challenges ahead were immense, the stakes higher than we could have ever imagined. But as I looked at my diverse crew, each bringing their unique perspectives and abilities, I felt a glimmer of hope. Whatever awaited us at the Nexus, whatever cosmic forces we were about to confront, we would face them together. Our journey as galactic stewards had led us to this moment. The true test of our principles, our adaptability, and our commitment to preserving the beautiful diversity of cosmic life was about to begin. As the stars streaked by outside, I steeled myself for what lay ahead. The fate of the galaxy and perhaps the entire universe hung in the balance, and we, the united crew of the CSS Horizon, were ready to meet our destiny. The final chapter of our cosmic crucible was about to unfold, and with it, the future of all sentient life in the galaxy would be decided.